Welcome back to Homebro Pie. I'm your host, Jimmy D, and we're back again for another event of this OP16 format. Of course, with those little starter decks we've gotten released here just shortly, a lot of people enjoying the new meta, the new fun decks that have been spicing up some old favorites and some new favorites, and some favorites that may even continue on into the OP17 meta. I want you guys to stay tuned today. We got some great content coming your way. First, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a tier list here on my predictions of exactly how OP17 meta is going to fall out. It'll be a nice little timestamp where I can go back to this and say, hey, how close was I? Was this, and all this of course is on paper, so we're gonna find out. Hey, maybe a little surprise for you. I was predicting this one going, or maybe I'm completely off like I was with Portcast Ace, doing pretty well in the meta. Also, going to be going over some price checks. We're going to be looking at all the market that has to be for OP17. Spoiler alert, I'm going to let all the rest of you guys know right up front. FOMO's a thing. Don't fall for it. That's all that really needs to be said for that. I mean, we're going to go over the prices. We're going to go over my predictions and where I think things are going to fall. They're all going to fall except for a few select items which we think will probably go up over time. And those things, of course, we'll talk about in length. I want to show you case all the new stuff that's been released, all the stuff without pictures, sadly, but at least we're going to have an idea of what the predictive market thinks some of these cards are going to be worth and where you might get screwed over on the FOMO market. Hopefully you have a good group of friends and a good group of community, just like we do have Lifelink, that we do have at Lifelink Games, because we have the capability of trading SRs for SRs, rares for rares, and recognizing that some of the prices aren't necessarily that equal or even. So we've had the pleasure of having the capabilities of trading SPs for certain SPs. I know some shoot up higher. We recognize that certain cards and certain characters have certain higher values, so the prices will vary on those very specific cards. But it's really nice in the early set if you have a good group of people that can be kind enough to say, hey, this is the stuff I'm looking for. Yes, you've been a fan favorite of this since day one. No, you're not chasing the most financially, rewarding card because you want money, but you literally are like one of the biggest fans for said character type. Right, and then go out their way to help you get that card within these early trades. Because I gotta say, I'm still running with this theory. When it comes to release events like they're gonna happen this weekend, all the hits seem to be overwhelmingly in these boxes, and I only get driven by other external factors. Like One Piece said that only LGSs were gonna get the first wave of boxes. So LGSs, or people who are supposed to be hosting games, are the only ones that should be getting the first wave, outside of a couple extras with maybe like big orders, giants with people that order pallets, maybe getting like 1 or 2 boxes on that first wave. The second wave is going to be your big box stores, and the rest of the people who get those bigger orders maybe getting those things completed, but at a significantly reduced rate. And that has just happened across the board because they saved the money for the Bonnet Card Fest they're going to be having. Hopefully we'll see some at the Anime Con this weekend. If you guys are going to be up in New York City, good luck up there. Tomorrow I will be heading up to New York City to do the one day so I can get all the goodies and come right back, because I don't want to miss the Lifelink Games pre-release events. We got 4 events in total this Saturday, which is going to be absolutely outstanding. We got the pre-release on Friday at 6:30. We got ourselves the box tournament, which is an entire box of the new set. You will open, you will make a 60 card deck, or 50 card deck, excuse me, make a 50 card deck using either one of the leaders or Rainbow Luffy of your choice. There's going to be a lot of people to be able to play with that. Those new awesome leaders are going to be quite powerful. I think Shanks, I think Roxy's a back. I think even Newgate has a potential to be an outstanding type of leader for a pre-release event, for this limited event, because of their abilities being just pretty on the floor, pretty good. Whereas Rainbow Luffy, no other effect outside of it's every single card type. So it just enables you to be able to play those leader lock cards if you happen to pull them. What your decisions were, you can go back to my last video and you guys can see what I talked about on why, what leaders you should pick and which ones you should go with. For the pre-releases at Lifelink Games, we are going to be Rainbow Luffy locked, just FYI. We didn't want to have anybody with bad feelings. We also don't want to police people. Everyone understands that in limited, the Whitebeard is going to be quite powerful. The Linlin is going to be quite annoying. It's going to make the games last significantly longer than they should. You're going to have the Shanks, which is it's just like Bonnie. And for those that have not played the game for very long, Bonnie and Red Sanji were both 2 leaders that people would bring to kind of just spike to different tournaments and different events. Both any of the events that would host and say, hey, you can bring whatever leader you want to play with, they would more often play with Bonnie, or they would play with Red Sanji, because they both had very simple effects that actually gave you quite a big advantage within the limited sphere of the game plan. So with that, we are banning all the other leaders that you can get. That way we don't have the, oh, I pulled this leader, I swear I did. Yeah, I have 6 SRs that somehow say that I also got a leader pack in one of those, and and it can happen, but the likelihood of that happening are just not there. So like one of the things you just have to be on the lookout, and one of the things that are very hard to police, especially when you have 60 plus individuals who are going to be attending every single one of these events. Of course, at 6:30 we're gonna have another release event, and then on Sunday will be our final release event. All those opportunities to get your Lego Luffy, get ready. That winter card is guaranteed to be up there with one of the higher price cards out there. I've seen cards like this already from the last set alone still sit somewhere around $300, which is insane to me, because I mean, it's a good card. I like a card. I just don't know if it's a $300 within the first couple of months value. Something I'd like to, I think, in my long history of playing card games, when you're looking at $300 cards, it's usually because you were rewarded for hanging on to said card for years and years and years, and then, you know, now it's valued at that because you've had that card, you've taken good care of that card, and it's impossible to get said card. Well, it isn't near impossible to get the release event cards now anymore. It's still just like, guys, it's a little new, it's fresh. Let it play out for a little bit. DK, good to see you. Welcome back. Thanks to exclamation point join. For the rest of you out there, I don't know why my button's not working, but exclamation point join for your chance to get one of the last 2 packs. This will be the last time I'm giving away OP16 for a very, very long time. I like to say forever, but I do realize that I plan on doing this channel for a long time. So I think 3-4 years from now, when we come back, we'll be like, hey guys, you remember this set? This had some goodies in it. And I'll be happy to open up one of those old boxes with you guys and kind of like reward you guys for these massively expensive boxes. As I heard on the internet here recently, the One Piece card game is the most expensive card game to play, and I laughed hysterically. I don't know if any of you guys understand, One Piece is by far one of the cheaper games to play. It is got the most rewarding and most beneficial cards. It has by far some of the best ratios on how to get your money. I know DK, he said no way this is real. I know, and I see it on these X accounts, and I'm like, that is the most bombastic thing I've ever heard in my life. We have Magic the Gathering that's selling boxes for $500 that you can barely even get $500 out of. You have Pokemon who's selling everything at 3-4 times at the market price, where you can get, if you get super lucky and get one of the 4 hits that happen to be in that set, you might make your money back. Might. Every other hit's worthless. I love pulling the alt-art, the super alt-art chase, and saying, how much is that? $3. Ho-ho! 1 in 14 cases, a $3 card. Slap me up and call me Jane. I love it. Hi, Cherub, good to see you. Welcome back. DK says, I couldn't even play standard in MTG for how cheap One Piece is. And that's what I'm talking about. The decks and costs when it comes to these games, One Piece by far has the best way of distributing the wealth, if you will, on the cards. And that's what makes me laugh so hard. Yes, SPs are going to be thousands of dollars sometimes. The new hockey stuff and the new limited edition Luffy is going to be probably in the tens, if not 30s of thousands of dollars, because it's incredibly rare. That's insane. That's a lot of money. Sure, you don't need to play with that card. That Luffy has got a $10 version of itself inside the card game. Magic still hasn't figured that stuff out, guys. They're still trying to figure, like, I don't know how to this day Magic hasn't figured out how to make cards 50 cents while also having variants of them that are worth thousands of dollars that people will pay thousands of dollars. That is the difference in One Piece. It is not the most expensive card game. If anything, it is the most balanced of card games on the market today. Yu-Gi-Oh! Will print the cards to death, so your money will be completely worthless and there's nothing worth investing in. Magic the Gathering charges you a lottery ticket just to see if you can get something. You rarely get your money back. While One Piece almost guarantees you getting your money back with the alt-arts and also getting all the pieces you need to play the game. And get this, the pieces you can get for doing well when playing the game go for a lot of money. Again, something that somehow the rest of these guys have still yet to figure out. DK says people just really want the alted deck to use that on the baseline. Sure, if you want that, you go for it. You go. I like that. It's a good investment. I don't know if you guys heard that I had the car problems. I'm going through it. I still don't have my car back after 8 weeks, but I had to. They kept increasing the amount of work they had to do on the car, and I had to sell some stuff. I don't like having to sell some stuff, but I will tell you right now, the opportunity for me to be able to sell some of my stuff that I was not using or didn't need at the moment and pay for this car that I need to function, to get around, to do things eventually when I can get my car back. But this essential thing of my life that I need to have in my life, it was awesome to have it. And I always say that to you guys. I think it's fantastic that we have a hobby that in a pinch could get us out of a jam if necessary. I've seen it happen quite a bit for a lot of people. I really feel bad sometimes because they have to give away some of their favorite cards. But again, I really do appreciate the fact card games like One Piece and the rest of these that have value outside the market, you can sell these things in a pinch and be like, listen, I don't want to get rid of this, but I have to because I need to pay this bill, this medical bill, this car payment, this other thing that has put me into a massive amount of debt. And you know, there you go, you've got the thing paid for, and at least you can put that to the wayside. So I'm just really excited personally that I was able to take care of the problem with this hobby. And I gotta say, as hobbies goes, I don't know of many hobbies out there that could actually do that for you. DK says I had mana bases for the cost more than my opponent's deck. Yes, the mana base for Magic the Gathering, for those that don't know, it's like your basic Dawn cards that are mandatory and they go inside the deck. Those cards can add up, especially in different formats like Pioneer or Plus, up to $300 to $400, and then once you get to Legacy, thousands of dollars for you to play with your mana base that are essentially Dawn that are inside the deck. Old designs, guys. It's been a long time. Cherub says, what's up? Oh yeah, it's not too pricey. Build something viable in OPTCG. There really isn't. There's so many different options. There's so many different ways to get it. They have different alts and ratios. The baselines are always really cheap. I freaking love that. I love how much that like these cards go. And then if you get in the game and you're really serious about it, there's this period of time where everything is just absolutely dirt cheap, and you could buy every single one of them for like $4 a piece to get your play sets anyways, like $1 a piece, if whatever. You guys get what I'm saying. Pay $4, get a play set of it. You put those in a binder. You have 4 in your binder. Whatever you want to play at any given time, pull those 4 out, and there you go. And people are willing to get rid of those cards. Some of them will give you for free. You go to these events and people will be like, oh, I don't need this card. Anybody need it? Yep. They'll give it away for free, and you can build your collection that way. And from that, you can virtually build just about anything. There are outliers, which there always will be. There are always going to be cards I don't like being at $25. But when it comes down to paying $25 for something you might put 1, maybe 2 of in your deck, you're living a pretty, you know, good life when it comes to card games. I've had too many decks where I couldn't even play in a standard event without having 4 $100 cards that were never going to stay at $100. They're going to tank as soon as the rotation or the deck dies, and then suddenly I paid $100 for a $15 card. Pano QC says, hey guys, looking from the moment, but happy to be here. Good to see you, Pano. Good, always happy to see you. And thank you for the comment. That is going to be good enough, Pano, for you to be on the exclamation point join for this. So long as it's in your first time chatting, that's all it takes is a simple comment from YouTube or on Twitch. Of course, if you want to enter twice, go to YouTube, comment over there, let me know, and then of course I'll put you over here on the roll from Twitch. All right, guys. Without further ado, let me see if I can pull up my tier list here. I had pre-prepped for this. Yep, it's Simone. Good to see you. 4 times for 250 for standing. Yes, DK Shieldred was the card. Yes, I remember Shieldred, and the new Shieldred coming out in Star Trek. Can't wait for that one. What are they calling it? It's the oh, Cumberbatch, or the Shielderbatch, or you guys know what I'm talking about. Cumberbatch is on a card now, so congratulations to him making it in a TCG. But yeah, Shieldred's being a 4 of and needing to spend about $240. They're like $90 right now. Stupid, dumb price for a card. But that's another one of those cards that eventually is just going to fall out of favor, especially when they reprint it. Yeah, DK. Yeah, you've been with me, man. I'm telling you, a lot of these card games, I don't think people understand how good it is. Especially, and one thing before we get into this tier list, I really was a big-time Yu-Gi-Oh player playing in the Nationals and going up through there. Biggest gripe I had against Yu-Gi-Oh was that every time they come up with a new set, they would have this new card that'd be $130 that was a secret rare, and you could only get like 1 of these per box, and you got lucky if you got 1 from that box, and it was always $100+, and you were chasing that thing constantly. You needed like 3 of those cards to make sure your deck worked most of the time, and that card would then like 2-3 months later be put in a tin. So it's like, hey guys, it's easy for you to play the deck, and that card that you spent hundreds of dollars to play in a tournament or event for would then be worth next to nothing. It'd be like 5 cents, and you'd be sitting here like, I spent $100 on that card. It's worth 10 cents on TCG Player. Ow. Yeah, that was one of the things where I feel like One Piece players just don't understand this thing unless they do what I tell them not to, which is, this is the FOMO period, guys. Don't buy. All right, let's get to the tier list. All All right, checking it out. This is a abbreviated tier list. This is all the stuff that's been good from OP16, minus a few things I've noticed here, especially from our local meta here. There are some missing leaders, but this is just what I had available to me on the Tier Baker, one of these really cool tools that is available on the internet for you to be able to design and make, you know, like your tier lists of what's good. So from here, this is all the predictive market that I have for OP17 and what I expect to see from these leaders based on the new cards that are coming out, whether they're going to fall from grace or whether they're going to be kings of the castle. Starting off with Kobe. While absolutely those that have been a fan of the channel have known that I have been a huge Kobe fan. I've been a Kobe stan since day one. I've had my friends and I were going back and forth on what decks to build. I always said that this deck had its meta opportunities. Anything, especially like when Enel was hot, this was a very good deck to choose. A lot of people are like, well, no, it can't be KO'd. It's like, this thing really punishes Enel. You can't protect cards. Anything that needs to sit on a card sitting there for a while, this is a great deck to absolutely counter into. So, for instance, if I'm playing Kobe right now, I'm not dropping this just yet, but if I also play this Kobe up against something like the Lifelink right now, I think Kobe just dunks on Lifelink. There's a lot of reasons why I think that happens, but one of the biggest ones is Lifelink, the way that a lot of the base strategies are being played today, they drop a lot of these 4K bodies waiting to get to Big Mom and then turn them into 8Ks. Well, if you're going to try and keep them in attack mode, this deck right here has the absolute best ability of giving character rush to a lot of players to run into these 4K bodies and eliminate those threats and then just basically starve Lifelink out of the game. It's got one of the capabilities to do the double damage. If you want to add some double damage cards with the red synergy in here to help, you know, crack them down, and it has the capabilities to pump this leader up to a decently high attack the next turn if you're playing the Smoker and Tashigi cards. And also have rush. You have ways to like starve people in a meta where most players are just trying to sit with their wall of characters and create a turn where they're going to go for the alpha swing. Kobe by far is the thing that just shuts it down. One of the things that Enel was really good at was playing a bunch of cheap drops, and with those cheap drops it would just like hide behind it with like bouncing them back to hand or like attacking with only one, or keeping like only attacking with one or two of the weenies or the searchers each turn, so you were constantly having to deal with those threats hitting you the next go around. Well, Kobe would be like, no, I'm just going to attack it now and get it off the board so you don't have it anymore. So you could essentially starve. This deck is phenomenal in starving decks that love that strategy. And now was a perfect, the Goofy Luffy was a perfect example of that. This was a great counter to that. And it was I think it's going to be a great counter against Lifelink if Lifelink decides to take off. But there are other decks that people are going to be playing that I think are going to push Lifelink into a bottomer tier. So as it goes right now, going into the meta as a meta choice, I don't recommend it. I think it is definitely A tier. I think it's very good. I think that it has some good matchups within the new meta that we're about to see. But right now, it is not the meta choice on a new rotating meta, as we're going to be trying to find out which one of these new leaders are going to be king, along with the power-ups that we're going to give to some of these older leaders. So, starting off, Kobe, A tier. It has its venues. It has its metas to which it can dominate. You as a player need to recognize, wait a minute, are people starting to try to need to set up my board in advance? Okay, here comes Kobe. Now I can counter that meta. Am I trying to play with a bunch of weenies and prevent them from being swung at and then trying to go for an alpha swing one day? This is the way to do it, guys. Kobe is a great counter against it. It also is great against some removal decks. I think it's phenomenal. If the meta gets heavy removal, which we're moving into, this is a great counter to that. It'll negate those 2-for-1s, and it's on the leader too, so there's nothing you can do about it. So if that happens to be the case, that you see that these two things are kind of dominating the meta, bring him up into S tier and then watch him win another tournament, because Kobe has done so and will do again, I think, in my personal opinion, surprise people during a period in which the meta kind of falls down. Similar to Kobe, we've got, honestly, Nami. I'm not saying Nami's dead. A lot of people are kind of like getting tired of this deck, and a lot of people are having to push it away, and there's memes about people not wanting to give up on this deck. While it does have the capability of being 7K every single turn, it's still an important value, but it's literally outclassed by all the capabilities these new leaders are putting in here, especially when you like don't even need to connect sometimes to get your power through, and the amount of bodies you can spam out pretty quickly. The 7K is becoming less relevant going to this feature, but does that mean this deck's going to go away forever? No, because the one thing about blue yellow Nami, or just blue yellow decks in general, blue yellow good stuff is always going to be something that you get there. So I think right now, going into the new meta, you could be the G and find out way ahead of time before everybody else what cards to add and make this new spice list for Nami and make it a commanding leader, and it could probably honestly win some events. I legitimately think so. I think that you could put this Nami into a competitive swing if you're able to update with these new cards and kind of find the cards that are going to counter some of the strategies that these new decks are going to be leaning on. And if you can do that, fantastic, you're going to win. Blue, yellow, good stuff is not a bad strategy to go. But as things go, as far as the new cards coming out, this deck kind of gets pushed aside. There's not, doesn't do a good job as it used to on the defensive side. So you're going to need to come up with a more offensive blue-yellow type of combination. Rosinante, I'm going to have to put him in B tier. I do love this deck. I think it's fantastic. Rosinante is always going to be really fun in a niche type of format, but the diverting life to him to save your character, the value of these things, guys, they're just being outclassed. There's too much stall, there's too much locking cards out of the game, there's too many things that just rest all the characters that are coming out with green. The new red promo from Shanks kind of like just craps on this deck. It is a 4-life leader. It has a really cool effect. It has some really cool synergy, and I like what it does. But overall, it just gets outmatched in today's meta. So I do apologize to the fans of Rosinante. I am also a fan of Rosinante, but sadly, this deck just is not up to the challenge. I need to see more law cards that can power tier this deck up to a better leader for something I would want to lean on. I would need to see more support. Obviously, this deck, this new drop does not really give anything into this. You got Lifelink cards, not really going to fit here. Kaido cards, not really going to fit here. And then none of the support that we're getting from these are powering this deck up. Turtle Luffy, I still think is going to be A tier to S tier. Going up here, I like the Turtle deck. I like this band. He does a really good job. I think all the new cards that they're doing, he's already tiered up to be really good in this next meta. He answers a lot of problems. He does exactly what you need to do by freezing boards. He does a lot by constantly dodging with all the defensive power that you possibly have. He slows the game better than anybody. Is he going to get run over by some of the S tiers? Yes. But he's still going to have some great matchups. And I think that the strategy of having that free 10 Dawn every turn almost, if you have the right pieces for 10k in counter, is still going to be grossly difficult for most people to overcome. I don't think people understand how difficult it is having all that free counter every single time. And if you build the right deck with some of the new added bonuses, I think this deck's going to be fine in the A+ tier. And I think it'll still be doing pretty well. I think it'll even win some smaller tournaments and some smaller locals. Going into the major events, I don't know if it gets all the way there. Port Ghasti Ace, this one's a hard one. I want to put him in S tier to A tier. The 6k body, phenomenal. The new Whitebeard support in red, absolutely phenomenal. There's a lot of great cards in here. But I think what I need to do is I need to like kind of line you guys up for how I see these two leaders. And the reason I'm putting him in A+ tier is because I think Port Ghasti Ace red is an S tier. The reason for that, this is just going to be faster. It's going to punch people in the face. It's got great, it can use all the new stuff and new support from Whitebeard to an extent, a strong extent, and can actually get this thing up to an 8k. The plus 2k for this one, not near as impactful as getting a 5k leader up, the 5-life leader on top of that. 5k leader at 8k, that is just an overwhelming return in favor here. This is a 3-life leader that people know that if you can outpace, if you can turn things off, the reason it's kind of fallen out of favor is because there's ways to turn the blockers off. The new Shanks kind of rests all the blocker beards, so it doesn't have its win con strategy, and with everyone likely going to be playing with the new Shanks, if you're playing green at all, this kind of even pushes him almost down here. I don't want to push him this far because he got new support, so I'm not saying that I don't want to put him down saying he's outclassed because these cards are great, but the problem again is that these new cards that came out kind of push them above here because he's getting support where they're not. Sabo, I want to put up an S tier, guys. This Sabo is absolutely insane. I honestly, is this the right Sabo? I hope this is right, Sabo. This is the one that should be going 6k if you are at 3 life or less. Sabo here. This one in the Luffy Taro, or the Elbow is what some people are calling it. It's your Elbaf package, your Straw Hat Elbaf package that goes inside this deck. I think it's going to be incredibly strong. You've got cards that are really cheap that can enable you having an 8 cost in the field. With that, you can you can use the Weenie Rush stuff that you get from the Monkey D. Luffy package. There's a lot of great searchers that you can add into this. I think adding some red Monkey D. Luffy cards in with the, or Straw Hat cards anyways, with the Black Elbow is just like the best of both worlds. It's really good. I think while Monkey D. Luffy pretty good for black, I think the deck is solid. I think it is definitely going to be winning some games. I think it's going to be a very powered deck to come through. I think it gets powered up even in the Sabo deck because the character is going to be 1k stronger. You got a 6k leader. You've got tons of valuability of like your different packages and where you can move it. You can play with the red package, you can play with the black package, you can move it kind of round back between the two. I truly think this is going to be a very strong deck in the new meta, and I think you really should be weary of the Elbow deck because I think it's going to get a lot of wins out of nowhere, especially in the beginning. Next we have Mihawk. Guys, Mihawk is just insane. Cherub says, I've been playing Elbaf Sabo on the sim and it's real fun and strong too. Yes, Cherub, I know I've seen some of the, not your stuff, but I definitely have seen some other people on the sim. I do like to watch other content creators to get an idea of when, like, of course I'm working, put the stuff in the background so I can kind of keep up with what's happening in the TCG world. And I've seen some incredible turns that I feel like it almost feels like you're not really even trying. The deck just wins and you're at like 2 life comfortably and your opponent is sweating and taking 10-minute turns because of like, can I even survive next turn? And that's usually not the case. They're not going to survive. So I think that, yeah, it's definitely a good choice for you to get this up, and I think it's going to be one of the cheaper decks to build going to the next format if I'm not mistaken. Getting into Dracula Mihawk, guys, I'm putting this guy in the S tier. This is phenomenal. As it goes right now, Shanks strike. Let's see how many strikes we have. Or slash, sorry, slash. Was Whitebeard slash? Is there any way to pull these up here? Is Whitebeard slash? No, he's special. Let's see. Trying to see how many of the new leaders, like, he gets a Shank buff. Slash, he gets a Rocks buff. That's really huge. Obviously, the Kaido would be special. And Luffy's gonna be special. Or strike, yeah. And she's gonna be special, yeah. So 2 out of the 6 new leaders that we're getting that are obviously gonna be seeing some heavy play here. This gets an auto buff into that matchup. On top of that, when it comes to restanding, he just does it better. He just does it better. I think the Shanks actually has more power in the Dracula Mihawk deck than the Shanks deck. I think Shank's ability to keep a character locked down every turn is going to be impressive. I think it's very good. I think it's going to be right up here. I honestly should just put both up here together, because I truly think that both these decks with the new support are going to be powerhouses in this next format. This one's designed to kind of like powerhouse out, but I think the problem is this one matching up against Shanks just has better all-around synergy and capability of restanding more Dawn to get the added effect. You drop the 10 cost Shanks, you can't search for it, who cares? I mean, you got enough cards, you can stall long enough. The deck does a really good job of stalling. You can there are slash effects that can get you I mean, Perona Searcher will help you get it there too. So I mean, I guess there are searchers in the Mihawk deck that you can play that will help you get the Shanks 10 cost Shanks into your hand. But the way that it restands 2, and then this one also restands 3, you've got extra attack power, you've got Electric Luna power. It's going to have, it doesn't need near as many pieces as Shanks does to get an Electric Luna play out of here to kind of like stop them for the turn. So you could have this you're never going to be able to restand your board type of situation if you can back to back with it. So as cards go and the way the pool works and the way that the current makeup of this deck right now, it really, the cards it plays kind of like ironically counter a lot of the new cards that are being played. So while I think this is funny that the Shanks right here, like this was I think personally built to knock red Shanks out of the meta and kind of like powerhouse over it to show that, hey, I'm just stronger than red Shanks. Green Shanks comes in and says, I'm gonna knock you out, and Mihawk says, nope, I'm gonna knock you out. And like, I think if we were to put like who's closer, definitely Dracula Mihawk over Shanks, personally. But that does mean he can't play some of the new pieces in Shanks that are going to be absolute game changers. So don't sleep on Shanks just because this one's going to be, in my opinion, better. I think that the package over here, he's going to have more matchups that are going to be in his favor than Mihawk. So it's a weird thing to say, that I think the matchups that this thing plays against, unless it's not Mihawk, is going to be very, very good for him. Where Mihawk just, it has lesser great matchups, but it still does what Shanks wants to do, but better. Does that make sense? I know it seems like I'm talking off both sides of my mouth, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying. What Shanks wants to do, he does it better. Gecko Moria. Thriller Slop is a phenomenal card, but until they unban 8-cost Moria, this deck is just not going to do it, guys. I'm sorry. I love how his entire package immediately got picked up and is still going to be picked up in the new meta. Is still going to be relevant. There are people playing Thriller Slop in this deck, in the Lifelink deck. Everything that was designed for this deck has been played in everything else. It's been played in Nami. Let's see what else is this deck here. I've seen some in Monkey Luffy Yellow. Like, obviously teaches its own thing. It can't do that. But if you're playing yellow, I've seen it in Boa decks. I've seen it in other like red yellow decks. That's the one we're missing here. There's no Jewelry Bonnie red yellow in here, which is kind of surprising. Yeah, but sadly, I just don't see this leader coming up. Will it surprise people? Probably. It doesn't do enough. There's no new support, guys. There's nothing really carrying this deck. And now I'm going to put in this A tier. And you know, at this point, I really want you guys to understand the A tier right here is stuff to sleep on until it becomes good again. And Nell gets crapped on with the new cards being printed. Everything being printed get really just kind of crap on its entire strategy. They got ways to turn these things off. They got ways to KO them. They got ways to rest them and lock them. There's so many new cards that are like, oh, that's a cute Nell. Shanks, I'm going to keep it locked down forever. Good luck. Since you're not playing the blocker, I can just keep your 1 of 6 costs locked down and I never have to worry about that as a threat. And then I can also just kill your little weenies for nothing. No value. All right, no, nothing on me, and I can do whatever. It doesn't matter. So as the meta evolves straight out the gate, and Nell is just not going to be in a very good place as a deck. Does that mean that is always going to be the case? No. Similar to, and I think I should put in the bracket here with this deck here with Monkey D. Luffy and Goofy. These two decks both need to wait for the current meta to rotate the current play style of what people are doing in OP17 on the sim and what we're likely going to see for the first month. They need people to rotate out of that format, and as soon as they do, come back in swinging. I truly believe that once all these decks are saying no one's playing weenies anymore because my 2-for-1 weenie killer isn't any good anymore, and why am I wasting space if it never targets and never kills anything? Because no one does it, and the meta just kind of like rotates and says, you know what, I don't need this card anymore. I'll put something else in its place to get a stronger advantage over what's good in the meta, and they take those cards out. Surprise! I'm good again. Surprise! I'm good again. Like, those cards, if they ever kind of like move out, and they will, I've seen it happen enough times in new metas, they'll rotate out. These decks are going to be primed to take the meta in their favor. They still have outstanding effects. They still have these great ways to steal games, and they still have some outstanding cards, and they're very cheap and can rush like no one else. But if you don't make this mid-range right now, it's not going to survive the meta. If you don't find some way to make it mid-range, and even then I don't even know if there's enough pieces for Impel Down to be mid-range. You could try to find out a formula. You can look into it. I wish you the best of luck. I always want to encourage people to try it, but if you can't make this a mid-range to top-end deck, it's not going to survive. And right now, everything this deck does, it just gets countered in the next meta. So don't give up on these guys. Put them on a shelf. Let them look down, wait for the moment when the meta kind of rotates out, and then go to your locals or some random championship and be like, surprise, mother! Surprise, mother! You know what I'm talking about? Xander, a friend of mine, handed me some cards so I could try to play Purple Katakuri today. Made 3-1. Let's go. Let's go, panel. Glad to see it. Well done. It's a good deck. Monkey D. Luffy yellow. I've never been a fan of this. It's a big life game deck. 6 life. I don't see anybody playing this deck. And there's not a whole lot of yellow being supported for this, guys. So, I do apologize. To all those yellow stands, I'm sorry. It's not there. Sengoku, while it does get some added benefit, this is still a glass cannon deck, guys. It's still, you got to have all the pieces. Everyone knows you need to get those pieces. You got a new piece with Amaraki. Cool. You've got some variety for what you can do. Everyone knows you're playing a low counter. Everyone knows you're trying to get this one ability off. And even if you do, if the board state's not in your favor, you're not winning the game. I'm sorry, I love it. When it goes off, it feels so good. But the problem when you're dealing with metas is consistency, and consistency that people don't know the active measure in which to counter your deck. And sadly, I think too many people know exactly how to take this deck down. Get underneath it, smash it before it gets stayed on, and then not care anymore because they're probably too low in life. And one of these attacks is eventually going to land and end the game. Sorry guys, I love the deck. I love that it gets Amaraki. I encourage people to play the decks that they love. And I honestly was really thankful that people were willing to give it a shot, because people kind of like wrote this guy off into F tier right out the gate. It ended up doing pretty well. It did mid game. It was getting above 50% record for some people. People getting their 2-1s and the locals, and you know, getting those winning records or those 3-1 records in the 4-round tournaments. So people were doing okay with it. But once you get up against a player that's like, oh, Sengoku, all right, cool, I'll get underneath it. I'll mulligan the hand to get underneath it. Buggy. Has he ever been able to come? I mean, guys, there's no new support for him. He seriously gets outclassed by all of these decks here. I know we have some stands. I know we have some fans. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. But Buggy just hasn't been doing it for me. Yes, he can play all the Prisoners of Impel Down. Yes, he can have all the buggies and these cool little blockers, and you've got 2Ks for days. But he doesn't have the power of this deck. He's already sub-tier to Goofy, who's playing a very similar strategy, but linked just to blue. I think the only thing that puts this guy in S tier is main character syndrome, or you get the ghost of Buggy to do what Buggy does best, where he fails upwards. Does that make sense? All right, Blackbeard. I want to put Blackbeard in A tier. And the reason I'm putting Blackbeard in A tier is because I still think this deck has some legs and opportunity. Can you zoom in a little? Sure. Does that help a little bit? I think I can scroll down and up. Does that help you a little bit? I want to make sure you can see everything. Yep. All right, awesome. So, Marshall D. Teach in the new meta, most of the new stuff really punishes this deck. But does that mean that it doesn't have a lot of counters for things? The way they built Marshall D. Teach is it has so many different answers to kind of like respond to each deck. And I still truly believe to this day that if you can master Marshall D. Teach and you can master the matchups, know what cards you're looking for, know when to stack those life counters, know when to lock them down, and just beat them down with Blackbeards, you can win. I think you could do really well. I think this deck is phenomenal. But I think this is a high skill deck, similar to an L, and because of that, it's just not getting the results it needs to have, because you've got to play the sim until your eyes bleed to make this deck work right, because there's just so many different options, too many different avenues. There's way, like, the decision making on here, you're not burning just brain cells, you're burning calories, guys. The guys that get here have always been the fittest people I've seen in the One Piece community. They don't go to the gym, they just play Whitebeard or Blackbeard here. They don't need that. They can burn the calories just by playing this deck. I'm going to put it here with a close chance to going to A, to be honest with you, just because the new cards really do outclass this deck a lot. And the challenge of getting this thing up into S tier is just, it's a mountain, guys. Yamato. I'm putting it up here in A tier. Again, if the meta turns out some way that people stop playing the cards that get you up to 7k and stop like really just a lot of the cards like that just keep these things. Like Shanks is going to keep their best pieces locked. Green is going to be very dominant in this next format, which is really punishing to the Yamato decks. The plus 8k, the plus 2k to make it a 7k leader, those people that learn to play around that and keep playing cards, Yamato's just not going to get there. In today's meta, she's fine. It's great. I love it. Or he's fine. Yamato's great. It's great. The swings are great. When you find an open window, you can get it there. Absolutely, you can win some games. The deck does what it does, and it's the best that does what it does, which is just revive things from the trash and punch people in the face. Very simple to play. Go for it. It's great. But honestly, with all the new support and everything that's happening, and the fact that you have cards like the Rocks card that force you to run into the Captain John. You've got blockers out. I'm sorry. You got other things that can beat it down before it even gets there, so it can't even play offensive. And this does not take hits easily. And Kaido can punch down on this thing if it wants to. The new gate with its plus 4k once per turn makes the unblockable irrelevant. I'm not even saying people are going to play this deck, but it does definitely crap all over this. Monkey Luffy is much faster than this deck is, much more consistent in my opinion, and can really punish this one. Can knock it out because it's just absolutely better at what Yamato was trying to do. Linlin's going to be a headache for this deck. I think the constant life gain is just going to like class it out. Maybe we should get this guy off the top here while we go into our next leaders. Are we missing one? Oh, I put Shanks up here. Okay. All right, these guys. Only because this didn't get enough support. The having to discard 6 and again getting support for 8 costs requirements or 8k power requirements and 6k power requirements. Guys, this deck is one of the hardest to build. I tried doing it for a little bit. I tried seeing what you could do. I think it's great. It does allow you some different avenues of approach where you can play some really cool Whitebeard stuff while also playing some really cool green Monkey Luffy cards. You got some really cool cards that were printed for the deck. It didn't get enough, and sadly, because of that, you're playing with new cards that require 8 while you're trying to play with cards that require 6, and it's too inconsistent. It being a 4-life leader already outclasses it, and even with the new support from Whitebeard, it just doesn't, it can't compete with these two decks here. And because of that, this isn't even like the skill of the deck. I think honestly it's just because it's not going to see much play. All right, Whitebeard. Whitebeard is an A tier, A+ tier. This card, this leader, its abilities, its package it's getting, whoo, it's so good. DK says starter 30 was actually quite good into an early meta using the new Luffy combo stuff. Yeah, it was. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it did what it was trying to do, but I often found that the consistency is what prevented this thing from seeing more play. And you guys know if you're playing competitively, and this is what this is, kind of like a competitive in OP17. It really in OP17? Start deck 30? For what was on the sim? Is that what you're referring to, DK? Interesting. I haven't seen much from this guy. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should put him up here in A tier. I don't think he's up here in the top tier, though. All right, until DK gets back to me. Oh, here we go. Well, yeah, it got good matchups early on. Okay, well, that just makes sense with their... Okay, so I do want to caveat a lot of the stuff I probably should have mentioned with you guys before. When it comes to new metas and the way things work, Red always seems to punch in pretty fast and dominate for the first little bit because people are trying out their new combos. They're trying to learn their deck still. They're still trying to learn the intro, like figure out, do I go first or do I go second? Do I play this or do I that? So while everyone's trying to learn their new deck and trying to get comfortable with it, Red deck just kind of punches in, and that's always been a thing in every single card game. That's not just One Piece. Red deck wins, will take over every new rotation in Magic almost every time. Red Rush and some kind of like quick combo OTK stuff and new that get developed in Yu-Gi-Oh until they find the right counter pieces will always dominate the meta. I've seen fast decks that in even in the same, I think it's like purple is the color for red technically, the way that it plays anyways, and Riftbound, but that deck always seems to just in new rotations dominate for a little bit before it gets pushed out, and people start saying, okay, well, I got to play interaction, I got to figure out how to, you know, knock this guy out or have some kind of way to stall it. But as a card player, anytime there's a new rotation into a new meta, and I know a lot of people are playing the sim a lot, but not everybody's on the sim, red's gonna be like a dominant force for the first couple weeks until people start playing against it. So yeah, but like you said, it relies on seeing the combo in pieces, the new 5-cost Sanji plus events from OP12 Luffy. Yes. Sorry, DKish. Yep. Music says, I'm a new into OPTCG and the tried starter deck via straw table. Can you tell me thought on Kid and a Nell? Are you talking about the Piss Kid, the Yellow Kid starter decks, or the Yellow and Nell? I think both are fine to stall. Oh, okay, music. You're talking about Piss Kid. So I'm kind of sad that it didn't have Piss Kid on here. Honestly, yeah, Yellow Kid and Yellow Nell. Okay, that's a good question. I'm sad I didn't have that mentally prepared for this. That's a really good question. So, as far as what Piss Kid's trying to do, it's actually quite sneakily powerful. I think, honestly, personally, from what I've seen from the people that play Piss Kid around us, it plays similar to like the way I described Kobe. I don't know if you're here for that conversation, but a lot of these decks right here are like meta killers once they find the right pieces. And when it comes to yellow, there's a lot that you could put in that deck. The Yellow Kid being able to take direct damage, and I love the ones where you're playing like cards like Basil Hawkins that take direct damage and just constantly keep punishing your opponent, where you don't even need to actively hit them, you just take it, and eventually you can overwhelm them with just taking taking that last life by just swinging out on them. That combo, that strategy is still very, very effective. And turning the thing into a blocker, not bad. I would say that the problem with that deck is it doesn't word itself like the new Captain John and Roxy Zebek. Blockers are not going to be strong in the first 7. Getting characters that you don't want them swinging into, good. Turning things into blockers, I don't know how much relevance they're going to have in the future. And the reason I say that, there's a lot of mid-game removal, which is essentially your blockers. A lot of 2-for-1s getting printed. There's a lot of resting being printed. There's a lot of locking being printed. And you have to worry about Red Shanks that says you can't activate blocker. Roger's still good. If you get down to 0, he can win games and still will in the future. And Green Shanks is just going to rest it. So, and Green Shanks is going to be pretty prominent in the meta. Because these guys exist here, because both of these are going to be competing in the S tier, and the rest of the cards playing, like I'm going to be playing some of the Red Shanks and the Sport Costiers for sure. The new promo that you guys don't know what I'm talking about. These decks are just going to turn off your blockers, and it makes the effect irrelevant. So as going forward, I think there is a meta for Piss Kid to win. I think there is a meta that they can come in there, but you're going to have to somehow wait for the blocker to be relevant again. Because its effect is kind of like leaning on just turning it into a blocker, similar to what Luffy does too, right? Makes some of those cards blocker. I find this laughable considering there's so many cards that kind of like negate this in this new meta, especially in the S tier. So yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't have it down here as a selectable choice, but if I was to put Piss Kid in here, I'd put it in the A tier because I don't think it's bad. I think it just needs its right meta. It needs to be a sneaky hit. And Yellow and L is always going to be annoying. You will win more games by annoying your opponent with Yellow and L. I don't even think it's that good anymore. I just think it's incredibly annoying. I think that it runs all the most annoying cards you could possibly imagine, and it never dies. And it makes it that you will get more wins by infuriating your opponent than you will by actually playing the game properly. That's my take on Yellow and L. All right, so going into this, Edward Newgate, Honestly, I can't put him any higher than A+. I think this deck was designed to be a meta changer. OP17 is a power creep in a nutshell. All these leaders are designed to be the new meta. They want all of these to be in the new meta. Red does not do good on defense. Guys, the card is good. Don't get me wrong. I like this. You get once per turn on your opponent's attack, you get a free 4K. That's insane. But red doesn't do defense. Red punches people. Red just unga bunga punch face, unga bunga punch face. That is what red's trying to do. Trying to make a red defensive deck when it doesn't have freeze effects. It doesn't have things can't be rested till next turn. It doesn't have keep that thing locked down for next turn. It doesn't, it just has, oh, I got a 4K counter once per turn. That's great. I used to play Radical Beam for that. I still play some 4K counters and Yamato with Ground Death, and I like it as a one or two of. Is it what makes my deck good? No. It's just nice to have in a tight spot. But red is not, this is counterintuitive. The cards that being added to this scream at me. I don't know about you guys, but they scream at me to put me in Shanks. Or Ace, sorry, put me in Ace. Put me in Ace. I want to be 8K for a turn on my 6th on turn. And then on my next turn, be 8K. And the next turn, double attack and then rush in your face. And then drop the big white beard that's like this screams, please play the new stuff in me. Because I'm not only going to make the cards very strong, but I'm also going to give them rush. I'm going to punch people in the face with them. And now you got more tools to play with. Like, this is what red wants to do. And this is why I think S tier right in the beginning is going to be why this is one of the top decks you can play against. Roxy Zebek, S tier. Guys, this deck's insane. There are ways to beat this deck. There are certain things you can do to beat this deck. But the card combinations and the things that you can do with this deck are absolutely disgusting. It already craps on Lin. It does a decent job to get against Luffy. If it gets the Captain John combos out real quick, it can stall the Luffy deck if it sees the pieces. I think that this deck is absolutely outstanding against some of these decks because it just has these great cards. They have a lot of great counter on them, and they're big beaters that are hard to remove. It's got the best removal in the game, access to it. Guys, the draw engine from this is insane. Like, I honestly see this guy being like up here in the is a top deck for people to play right out the gate. Now, once you learn how to get rid of the Captain John and you have answers for Captain John, this deck kind of falls apart. So if you're building decks into the new format, have an answer for Captain John. Just put those in the deck and get rid of it. Kaido, right up here with A tier. And why? Because Kaido is the new Sengoku. In my personal opinion, and even though I still think it's going to be a very strong strategy in the limited, this deck wants to do one thing. Turn 3, 10 Dawn, drop big drops. Drop big dudes and punish you with 10 drops. 10 drop, 10 drop, 9 drop, 9 drop, 10 drop, blah, blah, blah. I'm throwing the animal, the top end of my Animal Kingdom pirates in your face. Problem with that, if your deck is suited to go very fast and get underneath this deck, they're going to take so many hits in the early game before because they can't counter, they can't do anything. They're just taking hit after hit. They got to discard 2 cards to ramp out to 10 Dawn. You've got to reduce all of your stuff to get there to say, hey, I can finally start dropping these 10 drops well ahead of schedule. It's like, cool, I've got 4 characters on the board. You have now 1. Does that seem like a problem to anybody else? Yes, you're dropping 10 drops. Yes, you can maybe get out a 2-for-1 combo. But by the time you're at 10 Dawn, most of these decks are going to have 3 to 4 characters out already. And only thing you're going to be doing is attacking those characters to try to keep up. So none of these guys are really even going to be threatened with their life before you're starting to drop these big boys down. Now, you do have some really cool healing now. You do have some really cool stuff. You can drop the Linlins in the deck are pretty good. I think it's great. That's why I think it's A+. I think it can win some games. I think that dropping 10 costs early is very, very threatening. But you were also telecasting to the world that, hey, for the first 2 turns, I'm not going to do squat. And I'm going to discard a lot of cards and lose a lot of resources right out the get-go before I start punching you in the face. Oh, Kaido has the best deck of the game with an MTG Mulligan rule? Yes. Okay, DK-ish? Yes. Those who don't know, the Mulligan rule is you can take one card and put it under the bottom of the deck after a reshuffle. Yeah, this deck would be pretty powerful. But that goes into, again, with the consistency, right? You need to have the event. You have to play the event on turn 2 to get the maximum amount of value. And on top of that, you need to have the 10 drops, which are notoriously 0 counter cards. So, good luck. All right, Luffy, definitely up here. I think Luffy's gonna be fantastic. It's not because of his effect, it's because what his deck does. His deck can spam, it does what Yamato wants to do, but better. It has a lot of hate against it, but it also has a lot of protection for that hate that's going against it. This does a number on protecting its weenies from the multi-removal stuff. It's got the capability of putting down some of the strongest weenies with limited to no Dawn allocation. Like, this one requires Dawn allocation. This one doesn't. This one just has 5k bodies. So with that, with the capability to just kind of like turbo through, I think it in this deck is better, personally. But what this deck is trying to accomplish, it's very fast. It does what Yamato wants to do, but better. It's just a simply better Yamato. So is it up here? Yes. Is it one of the best? No, I'm going to put it at the back of the S tier. I'd almost say this is getting close to A tier, just because these decks are just doing better. But this deck is designed to be very, very fast and very, very good. Luffy better all, but the Sabo matchup is brutal. Yeah, right? Sabo stealing his package as being the worst matchup of the deck. I feel so bad. I want to play Luffy in a flame through, but I probably can't. I really don't think he should. If you want to play the package, put it in Sabo, guys. Put it in the elbow deck, guys. Please, put it in the elbow deck. It's just better here, especially the flame through with an early tournament. Finally, Lin. Say hello to my new Enel. This right here, Luffy beats it, Shanks beats it, Dracula Mihawk beats it, Rocks craps all over it. Sabo can get underneath it, Port Garcias can punch it in the face before it's even a threat. Kobe can beat the crap out of this deck. But this deck still craps on all these guys. And this deck is incredibly annoying. It is incredibly resource savvy it doesn't do anything. It just plays free characters and gains life, and it gains life and it plays free characters and it gains life, and it just keeps doing it. This deck right here is going to get more wins from the time policy that Bandai has than from winning the game. You hear it from me now. This deck will be the deck that is going to be hated like a Nell, because it wins because of time, not because it could win the game. DK says Linlin overhyped, but it is pretty present in some of the competitive issues. Yes, it does. It literally doesn't, like, it craps all over these decks, guys. Linlin really punishes all of these decks. Out of the S to A+ tier, which decks are the easiest to learn from a new player? Good question. Out of the S and A+ tier. So easiest to learn, Porcas Diesis Unga Bunga. Shanks builds itself, very easy, very, very easy. Albaf Luffy builds itself, very simple to comprehend. This by far is the easiest to learn. I think then the second one be Luffy. Third, Shanks, because there are some situations where you have to understand what you're trying to do when you freeze, what you freeze, and how to lock your opponent out of the board. And allocate your Dawn is a little complicated. Bigger brain, a little bit harder is Dracula Mihawk. Down here, Edward Newgate, super easy to pilot. Kaido, super easy to pilot. You're going to lose more games because you don't see the pieces that you need. So easy to learn, sure. Reward you for that? No, this will reward you. This deck will reward you more than anything for not knowing the game, honestly. And that's not to say that it's not like you don't need to be a decent player. I think you do need to be a decent player, but this deck right here, Porcas the Ace in red, is going to reward you as a new player more than the rest of these decks are. So Linlin is a better Enel. Yes, music. Sorry. Linlin is a better Enel. It is the new Enel. Like, it's just... Oh, it's so incredibly annoying. Sorry guys, it's just it's not good. It's a very bad deck. It's not. It's just incredibly annoying to play against. It'll get you to rage quit before it beats you. Like, I'm convinced that Lifelink was a rage bait deck. Like, Bondi was out there and they were thinking, didn't I see that they say they love being gaslit? Yeah, I think the people like being gaslit. Let's create Lifelink. Let's gaslight the entire community with Lifelink. It doesn't win very well. It doesn't feel good to play against. And sometimes it doesn't even feel good to play with. But if you really like annoying your opponent and going, seriously, dude, it's been 40 minutes. Do you have a win con? I gained 12 life. I'm at 13 life. I'm at 14 life. I've seen more comments on the sim saying, dude, get your life off my board with this deck than I have saying, wow, what a good deck. Thanks, give me a lot of insight. Music, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. All right, so I got to make this one quick because this went a lot longer than I was expecting to. I did want to cover the early game analysis, so we are going to do some finances before OP17. I caveat this to all of you who are looking to buy product and looking into it. FOMO is a scam. Stop falling for it. Quit wasting your money. Stop. Just stop. It's going to change in 2 weeks. The cards are going to hit the market. All the players are going to have the product. The market's going to get spammed with everyone who's trying to get rid of it because they want to maximize the ability to get their profit from these new cards, because everything listed today as a single is significantly higher than what it's going to be in the next coming months. Simple rule. If you can't sell it in the first week, you're not going to get the maximum value from this for a couple more months. It's not to say that they don't go back up. Borsalino kind of went up and down. Yeah, Cavendish went up and down, whatever. You have some cards that will fluctuate. But for the most part, every single listed today will go down. Every single one. Do not fall for FOMO. Fear of missing out. Don't let that be you. Trade with people that will trade. Get your collections. Try to get as much product as possible. I know it's hard. Do not buy in FOMO. You'll get the cards. All right, let me go into the price watch. Oh, I'm FOMO because now I want to play music. This is a great way to play. There's a great amount of decks I even showed you today. There's some great easy pickups for Ace decks. Personally, I mean, Ace really needs the most expensive card that you need for Ace is $9. This Edward Newgate SR is probably the highest priced card that you're going to get. And even this is going to be $1 in 2 weeks. If you're willing to wait 2 weeks, you're going to have, this thing's going to be $1. No one should be pricing this thing at $8. But if you want to get Porcosti Ace, all the cards that are in the deck right now, incredibly cheap. Incredibly, like, I'm pissed that the Edward Newgate from the last set is like 57 cents. It's a good card that goes in every single red deck. Like, why is the Edward Newgate going for 25 cents? Is Red Ace deck available as a starter deck? No, it's not. No, it's not. There are some pieces in the starter deck 30 that you can play with, but most of the pieces are from OP 16. Most of the pieces. There are some older pieces you can pick up. But everything out there right now for OP16, they're pennies on the dollar. Like, is this Edward Newgate? It's 51 cents. 51 cents. For the highest price, for the hardest, like, the highest rarity of the cards in the deck. Yeah. You can pick these things up anywhere. People will be happy to hand these to you. They'll probably give them to you for free. But even now with the new set, this won't be $9 for very long, but that is the... if I was desperate, this wouldn't even make me feel bad for wasting $7 on this card. Alt Arts leaders. Guys. I don't know how many times I gotta have this conversation. It's all right, because I will keep having this conversation. Alt Art leaders are not worth this in the early set releases. The most I've seen an Alt Art leader stay at power that wasn't a promo, that wasn't some kind of like limited edition thing that you were trying to get, or Dodgers Luffy or something like that. The most I've seen these Alt Art leaders is $100. The most. Oh, okay. What you want to do for the alt art leaders, they should, if it's a top deck leader, it should be anywhere between $180 to $100. And if it's kind of like one of the ones, like I said, with Edward Newgate, he's probably going to be down to 20 bucks. The Kaido, he might be around $30 for people. Those are the ones that are going to tank in value because people are just not going to care for those leaders. And they're going to significantly drop. I think that they have longevity value. I think that there is a value to say to hang on to these alt arts because I've been telling people to do that for years. The Monkey Luffy that doesn't even see play from OP01 is up to like hundreds of dollars, almost in the thousands. It's ridiculous. But the leaders, like over time, as things rotate out and we get anniversary set 10, 11, they'll probably climb up to these values eventually. But out the door, even this being an anniversary set, no, they're not going to hold. One of the things I do want to say, I'm really disgusted by this. The reason LGSs got the boxes early were to design people to make sure that they could get the MSRP boxes. So I really hope that Bandai's paying attention to this and cracks down on these guys. This is disgusting. Stop it. You should never be paying $250 for this box unless it's been off the market for over a year. And you really just like the cards. Like, these should be out the gate $125. This scalper nonsense, this scalper BS. Stop paying these people. Stop buying these boxes. If you can go to a Bandai store, if you can go to a Bandai event, get it at MSRP. This is just stupid. I hate it. Bandai hates it. Lifelink hates it. We don't sell at Lifelink Games. We don't sell at these prices. We're selling it a lot cheaper. Our box tournaments are only $140. So you get a box and you play with that box in the tournament. It's not win a box. It's you get a box and then you play with said box in the tournament. It's 140 bucks at Lifelink Games, guys. So yeah, this is stupid. I hate this. Don't buy from them. Push these guys out. Punish them. Will this be a high valued set? Yes, it will. Sadly, sorry. Do I have a... I think I had a comparison to show you guys. Kind of. Let's see. As anniversary sets go, these things skyrocket. Where it is, right here. This was anniversary 1. Yeah, these boxes, because of the cards you can get in them, they will skyrocket over time. They will easily get up to this value right here. This is a single box for $1,100. So will this set go up? Yes, sadly, because it is an anniversary set, because everybody's after it. It will shoot up. It will be a great value. You shouldn't be paying these out the gate. You should be rewarded for having held on to this box for years and just had it as a display, as a collection, pay for your college tuition, whatever. As a one of, maybe a two of, but no more. But yeah, sorry to hear about this. All right, so display, don't care. Who's who? These commons and uncommons being, this is ridiculous. This is the stuff that kind of pisses me off the most. These are going to be 10 cents. Everyone's going to have them in their mother. Shanks right here actually kind of makes sense at $30. I wouldn't be too surprised if this thing sticks around at this rate because of how much this is going to be after. This Shanks to me feels like the Borsalino. So this being around this price, I think this is actually probably one of the fairer prices on the market today. Monkey Luffy, super rare. I think this one will probably drop. That super rare is probably going to drop down to, like we saw with my favorite. This is a card that I like to refer to people from OP16. This card in green is insane. It's not leader locked. It's not something that is that hard to search for. You have this card that on 7 Dawn freezes a character, which is impossible to stop, and you have this constant unblockable character. This card's insane. It's good in the Goofy deck, but it's good in anything in green. It's an unblockable character. Any character you have with unblockable is almost a guaranteed hit, and your opponent knows it. It does some massive psychological damage, but they're going to be around 70 cents. Because believe me, people are going to be cracking this stuff up. Uncommon at $7 is a joke. Common at $1 is a joke. The Magna Linlin 4K. Now, here's where we get into like manga territory. Honestly, these ones are going to be rough, guys. These are anniversary sets. So does it have a chance of being these multi-$1,000 cards for a very long time? Yes, very much so. Will it outpace the current mangas? It shouldn't, but could, because this is an anniversary set. I don't think that, I think this is way too high. I think that these will probably settle around the 2K range, unless it's Monkey D. Luffy, that'll go up higher. But most of them are going to be 2K range, and Monkey D. Luffy is going to be the chase. Alt art's way too strong for this, but the alt arts have been settling pretty high, depending on if it's playable or not. Monkey D. Luffy, this is way too high. This will be like 110. Oh, wait, this is a leader. Yeah, this is going to be like 110. Mostly because it's just Monkey D. Luffy. Let's see, we got the SPs in here. Looking for the SPs, and the chat said, Music says, but with the OP, they have in the same cards, just non-foil and alt art, right? Yes, yes. So they have the same cards out there that you can get for next to nothing. So the manga card is an SR that's going to be worth 50 cents for the Lifelink, but the manga is going to be like 2K. That's what makes this game so good. Bob64, good to see you again. And Xander and Brittany, thank you for the YouTube. But yeah, the overall price for the regular cards are probably going to drop anywhere between $1. There's only a select few. I think Shanks has got a good value staying up in the plus 20 range. I think that there are some cards from Roxy's Zebek that will stick around 20 bucks for a while until Rox falls out of favor, and then it'll just drop. And there will be some stuff in the Elbaf Luffy that stays up decently high for a little bit, and then after 2 weeks it'll drop. Most of these cards are going to be 50 cents. I don't like these markets, guys. I think this is just dumb. Rares are like 50 cents. This Yamato, whatever, sure, it's 50 cents. Alt arts, most of the alt arts, the regular alt art cards should be anywhere between the $20 and $80 range, depending on who the character is. Shanks, I think, will sit somewhere near 120. Honestly, just the hockey one is going to be insane. But this Shanks alt art has 4 different variants in the same set. You've got the hockey version. You've got the like gold, like SP like looking one that's not the hockey. Then you have the alt art, and then you have the manga, and then you have the regular card. So there's like 5 different printings of the Shanks, guys. The ones out there I think are going to be pricey, but given there's 5 different alt arts, I can't see this thing sitting up very high. The other one's going to kind of push it out. We've already seen the Lifelink treasure rare being around 500 bucks. No, it's Edward Newgate. I love it. I think it's great. But I still think that this thing's going to be around 200 bucks at top at best. Where's my hockey? I'm looking for the hockey SPs. Because the hockey SPs I really think are going to be one of your stronger value keepers. There's a Baki Kaido. No, there's way too many of these to be this high. Baki Kaido is going to be somewhere near like maybe 100 bucks. Are you? Well, this events usually go pretty high, but this will still be around 200 bucks at best. Do we have any SPs to look at? Has no one pulled any yet? Yamato SP. Okay, here's the SP. Okay, cool. We got some SPs. SPs, I think, are going to be our strongest hitters. I think these SPs are going to hit similar to last anniversary set. I think they're going to settle somewhere between 8 and 1400, depending on the character. I think, honestly, most of these characters are going to sit around that level because these hockeys are insane. Those hockey SPs are great. And I wish I had a list. I think I'll do another one next week where I kind of run down when I have pictures and I actually have everything I can rank up here to give you guys my predictions of what it'll settle at. And that way we have something to like kind of refer back to. But when it comes to the hockey ones, I think those ones are going to be a great $1,000 keep. The most expensive card that I think is going to be out of this is obviously going to be the Monkey D. Luffy Crew silver card. That card is going to be tens of thousands of dollars. The Gold D. Rogers up to 30. I think Monkey D. Luffy beats it. I think honestly that card goes for 40, maybe even $50,000 because it's one Luffy. It's Gear 5 Luffy. and it's an anniversary. So given everything we have and the knowledge we have from the last anniversary sets and these really specialty, hard to pull 1 in 17 cases, I think it is, that card's going to be the chase. It's going to be a ridiculous price. Good news is there's a $10 version of that card available already, so you can play it already today. Go buy it. It's fine. It's 10 cost Luffy. It's not really good in most decks right now. It's only good in one, but you can buy it. $10. It's yours to play. The bad news is people are going to be chasing it, and it is silver, so it's going to be heavier, and heavier means I can weigh it. So be very, very, very careful in targets, in stores that you don't trust, and people going through things. If you're chasing that $30 lottery ticket, the chances of you pulling it are going to be very low unless you have a scale and someone allows you to get away with using a scale. Guys, like, it's 1 in 17 cases. It's ridiculous. Good luck out there. I hope all of you pull with the cards you're looking for. I hope that you guys get some of the stuff you need. Do not fall for these FOMO prices. This stuff is ridiculous. This thing in 2 weeks is going to be pennies on the dollar. Find some friends. Trade rares for rares. Trade SRs for SRs. And alts for alts. But no, the ranking of the system, you get alt art leader, SP to a degree, the treasure rare a little bit in between there, the really super secret alt art stuff, and then the mangas, and then the chase card, which is going to be your crew, Monkey Luffy crew. God packs are available. Those things look sick. I hope one of you guys get the opportunity to pull one of those. It would be awesome to pull one on channel. But I can't wait. We're 2 days away, guys. The new set's going to come out and it's going to change everything. Stay tuned for that. Right now, our last matchup before the release this weekend of OP16 and our last 2 packs of OP16 giveaway for now. Till then, I'll be right back. And welcome back to Humble Pie. I'm your host, Jimmy D, and we're back for the gameplay of today's live stream at YouTube and on Twitch. Thank you guys so much for being here. We've got some amazing games, 3 matches and rounds from last Tuesday. That was yesterday as of me recording this thing. We got to have a really fun match. We're in the thick of it in the early stages of the championship series that we do at Lifelink Games. Super excited for this season. It's absolutely fantastic. We're gonna be doing this one a little bit differently than we've done the last ones, and it changes every year, but it usually just increases its capability. You get points for attending, you get points for wins, and at the end of the season, we're going to have a top 16 cut. From the top 16, we're going to have those players play off each other, and those people will schedule their matches, and we'll get all those matches. We won't have to deal just one day. We'll have every single time a new championship match to throw in along with the rest of the matches that we have for a regular daily tune-up. So it means we're going to have more games to watch when we get to the championship set, because we're going to be able to see the top 16. All those players will coordinate with me. I'll get to record those matches. It's gonna be best 2 out of 3 for those matches, and we're gonna see which one of these people are moving on as we walk ourselves through each week of the season, of that off season, if you will, but playing for that championship. The crowned winner playmat with a one of their that we're gonna be designing for them using some of our local artists that we love. Thank you so much. And we'll have that awesome mat designed with a championship from the series, a medal to commemorate their championship win and performance that a lot of people have been loving to wear since championship season 1. I'll be walking away with a massive amount of product and prize cards and all the rest of the stuff that we give away at all prizes. And of course, everyone who participates is going to be put in certain tiers. So the amount of points that you get will determine whether you get additional packs on top of what you get for just showing up. You get additional prizes, additional little goodie pegs and little things that we go into. Like the higher you get within that bracket will determine like the kind of prizes you get that you can collect at the end of the season. So even if you're not in the top 16, just for participating and showing up every week, getting those 3 points for attendance, you only get 1 attendance point per week. But you do get points per win in each one. So with there being 3 rounds in both those events that are recorded, that's a total of 9 plus 12, 21 total points that you can possibly win within a single week of performance just by playing on both. It's great. Each one of those weeks line up. We have 8 weeks of this competition. At the end of the season, top 16 is decided, and from there our top 16 will go head to head and play out the format, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be the best of our players around here playing for that trophy, that coveted trophy that your boy is actually going to be participating. We'll see if I can make it. All right, now I'm in comfortably on the leaderboard. I'll show you guys where I am later afterwards, but I will be in this championship series this way because I no longer have to play manager of the championship series as well as player. I can't do both. I've tried so hard. I've done 5 seasons in a row of doing this. I tried the very first one. I tried to get in there. I got to the point where I could not mentally work with the people, get the stuff that needs to get done on the outside, play all the mechanics, play the camera work, play the rules, and make sure that there was something enforcing the accurate play, and watch over that duel, and on top of that play the game myself. So with that, we have solutions now. We have ways to get judges to watch the matches. We have ways to get people to play the best 2 out of 3, lock in their decks, get everything scheduled, and instead of having people that just had to drop out because they weren't available during our championship day, they'll be able to play throughout the week and schedule that with their opponent and get those matches made. So that's a fantastic opportunity for all of us to finally get to see everything, because I gotta tell you, as I've been recording these matchups, sometimes the best matchup I really wanted to cover wasn't even on camera, and people are still talking about those games to this day. Luckily for us, we're gonna be able to see all of these games. So as we build up the championship series, we're going to be going over some of the players that are going to be getting ready and doing really well, starting right off the bat with Sea Dog, who's in our top table right now, playing up against a new player, Panda, who's been playing something that is honestly, his decks go, wouldn't be something I'd start with, but hey, if you like it, play it. All right, our first matchup, Sea Dog, with the list and this new upgraded list here that we've got from the Yamato Beatdown. While this deck is still pretty good in this format, sadly, I do think that this one kind of does fall out of favor in the upcoming meta here, because we've already talked about it. Luffy does what this deck does, but better. It's more consistent, and Sabo does what Luffy does, but better. So Yamato, while an amazing deck, and it is the only deck in our current format that can swing as many times in one turn, the deck does get outclassed by specific things like a leader that goes up to 7 and even AK for the turn. If your deck and something similar that we're going to have to be looking for in the next one here with Marshall D. Teach, because they do have triggers that put the leader up to 7k for the turn. If they can get it triggered properly, if they can get the thing that get to 7k for the turn, you could do a pretty good number against this deck. One of the biggest issues this deck suffers is it does not allocate Dawn. Every single turn this deck wants to be maximizing what it's trying to do. It's weakest in the beginning because the weak part is them just trying to play setup. Most of the early game, you're trying to search and pitch, trying to get cards in the trash as fast as possible, because what you're doing is you're trying to dig to get a 6 cost in hand, and you're trying to put these 8 costs in the yard, and you need as many of these as possible. I've seen people put decks together with like a 6 of like only playing 2 copies of this and 4 copies unblockable. That's a mistake. You should be playing all 8 copies of this card, because you need them in the trash for as many times you can cycle the 6 cost. 6 cost is a great on play. You get to draw a card, discard a card, so you can kind of fit that up there. And then of course you can sack it to summon one of the 8 costs in the yard, which with leader get rush. So these 8Ks can be a beatdown. You can swing 5, sack to swing 8. If they kill this one, you just get the 6 cost back, so you just do it all over again. You've got the 9 cost blocker that brings the 6 cost back, so you could bring this back, swing with it again, swing and bring back an 8 cost. You've got this 8 cost that brings back some low cost stuff, but you can get the 6 cost back in your hand to keep the cycle going. You got the event that'll summon the 6 from the trash to get you that 6 cost Yamato going and get the engine going. There are turns on here where you can combo the Mononosuke with the Shinobu to get back the 9 costs, which gets back the 6 costs. So you can swing with this, you can swing with this, and you can sack this to swing with this. And whatever you have on board is usually kind of something you don't want to really even remove. And of course you have the leader swing. Problem with that is if you put your leader up to 7k and they can't allocate any Dawn, this attack is negated, this attack is negated, this attack is negated. You didn't have to do anything, you just negated the attacks. And these guys can swing in, and it only takes a 2k counter to get rid of them. So it's unblockable, sure, but it only takes 2k on my hand to or even 1k if I have an 8k leader, to stop the attack. So the deck often fails where it needs to struggle to not go off until the leader's returned to a 5k status and doesn't have like some kind of board state to mess with this board state. But the deck still will win tournaments and has been winning tournaments because it often gets to the point where it just swings more times than any other deck can. Its best start is to start off here on the play. You get obviously it wants to go second because it wants to get to 6 as fast as possible, but some of the best games I've seen honestly play in the play, you put out this, you get a 1 cost out, fill up your trash, next turn 5 and 5 for your 2 swings into the leader to start punishing them. Next turn you get something like a Kinemon that fills up your trash and guarantees you have a Yamato in hand to go off on 7. On 7 you're playing the Yamato to sack in to get the 8s. The 8s start swinging in, then you get to 9, you drop this, you get the Yamato, you swing with another 8, and then your final turn you're doing something like maybe even comboing the 2, bringing it back, swinging 6, swinging the 8s, hitting them down to the point where like even if they get up to 10 point, you've got approximately 14-15 different swings that you've done at this time, and most decks cannot counter that much and don't have enough life to counter that much, nor have enough time to put out blockers that can get around this stuff. So in the best case scenario, this deck will swing harder and punch harder than any other deck. Problem, it doesn't do well on the defensive. It doesn't really defend itself very well. It does have ground death as a one of. It does have a blocker. It does have recycling of this blocker if you have it in the trash. Problem is you have to have it in the trash, and then you have to have this to bring this one back out. And these things are going to be very easy to remove in the new meta, especially in the new meta that's coming out. There's going to be a lot of hate against characters like this. So these guys are just getting instantly removed without really much of even a thought. And then you're going to be playing heavy on making sure you have the Yamato. So good deck overall, very good for new players. Definitely recommend they get into this deck. It's very cheap. I think this thing's around $45 to build, even with all the SRs that you have to have in here, but most of these cards are ridiculously cheap. Aside of ground death, I think that's probably the most expensive card in this deck, which is hilarious because it's a rare, and if you guys are a long fan of the channel, you'd have known you should have picked up 4 of this way back when it was 10 cents. Right now, like OP16, where all the cards are 10 cents. But yeah, this is what the deck does. The counter to it, if he can do it, it's going to be Marshall D. Teach. Now, I will say favorable on the paper right now, the Yamato deck craps all over the Teach deck. However, the Teach deck can get through it by getting the, I believe it's Someone Wolf? Yep. If it can get the Someone Wolf on KO Blackbeard pirates, you get to redirect it into this, put your leader up to 7k for the turn, get to draw a card to replace it, and you've pretty much negated most of the cards that are going to be coming in there. Easy to get those 2k counters from your deck to get around those swings from the Yamatos. If you can keep cycling the San Juan Wolf to keep your leader up to 7k as long as possible, you're probably going to win this game. But in a deck like this that only copies one copy of San Juan Wolf, it's going to be much harder for this individual to get around the Yamato combos. This is where this card is an absolute must in these current matchups, because if it can't get there, the stall strategy that you get from Martial Teach is not going to be enough. While it does a good job of locking the unblockable Yamatos, the Yamatos can kind of sack themselves and bring them back and swing again and make the Martial Teach kind of irrelevant. And since it uses so much of its card ability to redirect attacks, I like this ability because it gets around the fact that even an unblockable character, you can redirect it into another character once per turn by discarding a card with trigger. That's really nice. But usually it's not enough because it doesn't have a whole lot of resources to block 14 swings. It has resources to block significant swings, can definitely outpace your opponent and like kind of outclass your opponent if you play the right version or right cards and kind of like manipulate your opponent's board by reducing the attack of certain cards, resting 6 costs cards in here, KOing some Louise if you want to, copying bodies to swing in for pretty big or pretty good. The Jesus Burgess is phenomenal. I still think this card's really good. I'm trying to surprise most people aren't playing it. I just don't think there's enough room, and that lack of trigger kind of like throws people off. Having 4 copies of Zihaha, or just 2 copies in this one, to play out the big 8 cost, which is absolutely probably the most devastating card to put something in life, and you get to get whatever trigger you want, kind of stack it your way. Really good. Shiryu also does that number by putting the right one in here. Shiryu could recycle the San Juan Wolf constantly if he's able to have it in trash. But it's one of those things where you need this to get San Juan to make this the power card in this matchup. A lot of discard for searching. Consistency in this deck is phenomenal. The 2-for-1 with this card is absolutely insane. I love this card. You may return 1 card from the top of your life cards face up. If you have less characters than your opponent, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters the cost of 6 or less, and 1 of your opponent's characters the cost 5 or less. So a nice little 2-for-1. And as I've said multiple times in this channel, if you could 2-for-1 your opponent and they can't 2-for-1 you back, 9 times out of 10 you're winning that game. Hands down, guys. Hands down. And it's just absolutely disgusting the way that 2-for-1s work. The Gravity Blade has been doing it for years. We've had other cards that did it. We have a new meta that's going to have a lot more cards available for you to do 2-for-1s. If you could 2-for-1 your opponent and they can't do it back, you're winning that game. That's what's been the strategy since day one. All right, those are our decks. These are our players. Panda on the play, starting things off here against Sea-Dog. Sea-Dog just hoping to get the swings in as possible. Luckily got the win on the die roll because Sea-Dog does like to go second. Good start off here with Doc Q and a pass back. Sea-Dog going to go to 2 Dawn here, looking for the best play here. Honestly, you really want to see a Nami and a Nico Robin is probably your best start you can possibly have in here. Nami's the first. This one able to look at the top 3, grab a card, trash the rest, or top 4. Looks like we do have a Nico Robin, so that's good. We can get an 8 cost in yard. But sadly, none of those other cards are of any value. Here comes the Nico Robin, the second play. Let's see if we can discard an 8 cost. We do have an 8 cost immediately, so drawing 2 cards. And we're going to be passing the turn. But that is an excellent start for this deck. That's exactly what you want to see. You've got an 8 cost in the yard. You're digging closer. You want to see a 6 cost. I don't know if Sea-Dog has it yet, but we're closer to getting that 6 cost in hand and making sure that we can get the engine running on the turn we want to. Back to 3 Dawn turn for Panda. Good turn here to get some offensive on here. If I was Panda, I would definitely want to be playing aggression. Get those cards out of hand. Here comes 5 to life. On the take, I might even load up the 3 if I don't have a 3 cost, like a Katarina Devon. Oh, wait, no, it's a 0. It's a 0 power. Never mind. So I wouldn't have been able to swing in here. Sadly, Panda with no other play, no Katarina Devon, nothing to, none of the Vasco shots or the lower type characters to play in this turn. Not something you want to see. Taking a turn off like that can often take the tempo away from you. So sad to see, but we'll see how Sea-Dog responds. We got to draw 2, discard 2, the Morgans that got added up from the old Emu deck back when the day when that was a deck. Very good 3-drop. I think this is fantastic. It is a blocker, and it does do exactly what this deck wants to do, is draw and trash. So very good card. I think you definitely should recommend people playing it. if you want to keep playing this meta. But eventually, like I said, this deck is going to get pushed out of the meta, sadly, for just a bit. So wait for your opener. Looks like we got another one looking for the 6 cost. No 6 cost to see yet. Could get a Kinemon next turn to dig for it, or get up. All right, a nice little 2K. Possibly building for the Mononosuke combo, since we do have Mononosuke in the yard. 5 to life. We'll see if Panda wants to give the 1. Good choice. Oh, pitching to redirect. I guess a draw card. Not really going to do much else. Oh, wait, it does pop. That's right. All right, I guess. Sure. Redirect, pop there. Draw a card. You'd think that was a big board state advantage, but to this one, they really don't. If you're not turn 2 swinging with the Nami or the Nico Robins, the only other value that card has is playing against weenie decks like the Goofy, where you can use them as attack targets into those like weenie decks that are trying to set up a board state. Other than that, this deck really doesn't care. Those cards get replaced so often. All right, 5 Dawn here for Panda here. Hopefully we're going to see some kind of board state advantage. Here comes 7. Good swing. Looking for 2 cards in hand. Always going 2+ on the leader attack is very good. Sea Dog with a second take of the game. Down to 3 life. And again, no play for Panda here. This is not a great start for this deck. Needs to put out some characters here. I'm really surprised we haven't put out anything. I know Shiryu is going to probably be our answer next turn, but you really still want to have something to redirect even into. All right, here comes a 6 cost, so the swings are going to begin. We're going to draw discard with a 6 cost Yamato, possibly going for a 5 and an 8 swing, and plenty of cards to get back with it. So if we want to go for the one that gets those characters, although I always do recommend people go with the unblockable if it's available first, only because if they try to remove it, you're going to get it back. You just keep the engine going. It's one of those cards that has a great deterrence on it. So we'll see what Sea Dog goes for. What version? I can't tell. It looks like Sea Dog does have both copies of the different Yamatos here. So we'll see where she wants to go. She's going to go for the character play. All right. This one's going to get the 6 cost back in the hand and play a 1 cost or 2 costs or less. So optimally it would be a 2 cost blocker, but could go for a searcher. All right, we're going to go for the Yamato. Or Otama, I'm sorry. You can rest it to reduce some attack, so not terrible. If you need to deal with some high-level cards, we'll see. Looks like that 5 came through. Got a trigger for this. That's going to pop the Nami. That's fine. And draw a card. And here comes 8, which is probably going to be another take for Panda, because there's nothing to redirect this attack into. And that's likely going to be the turn for Sea Dog. Now, on Panda to start seeing that Shiryu and start getting some life out there. Would love to see, like, some way of getting San Juan Wolf on the board or in life. It's like we are tapping 6, so Shiryu the play here. So get us our life heal and hopefully a good card. Looking at what we have, Katarina Devon is probably the best thing. Or Shiryu. Discarding Shiryu is not bad, so get Shiryu in life. Good answer for this turn. Can come in for 6. Easy 2K counter. We know Sea Dog has it. Or it looks like My Era Begins probably going to be played after this, or even the stage. Maybe Panda finally got in the stage here. Looks like we're going to counter out of that attack with a 1K with Mononosuke. And nothing in the pack. Okay. So playing one of the defensive events here, maybe. We do have a redirect into this Shiryu, which is pretty good for maybe leader attack. But Sea Dog going to be here on the 8 Dawn turn. We know that the 6 cost got back into hand here. So we could just see another 6 cost into another 8 cost. 1 turn away from the Mononosuke combos here. And that looks like what we're seeing. 6 taps. Here comes Yamato again. Draw discard. Sea Dog with all the options for days in this yard here. Plenty of 8 costs to bring up in. Be about time maybe use some of that Dawn to... honestly, if I'm Sea Dog here, I'd be swinging with the Morgans. Swing with the Yamato. Swing with the Yamato. Sack this one. Bring up an 8 cost Yamato. I'd go 5, 6, 8, 8 this turn. Just to really put the hankering on Panda. Got plenty of cards in hand here. Can also play Ground Death as a defensive play if Sea Dog feels the need, but with 3 life and only 2 swings potential from next turn from Panda here, not really in the death range and needing to play defensive just yet, then this would be a great turn to keep the offense strong and make sure that you do what this deck does best, which is just swing face. We'll see what Sea Dog wants to go with this. Looks like we are going to attach a Dawn here for a 6k swing. Looking for a 2k counter or a redirect. Could possibly get life. Panda on the take. Gonna get the trigger for the draws. Got some more draw engine here to stop. Could swing the Morgans if we want to. Nope, just gonna go for the sack. Get an 8 cost back. The unblockable has hit the field here. Here comes 8k swing first. Are we gonna get a redirect? We will have to still defend. No, Panda on the take. Are we gonna get a trigger? Looks like we might. Boar's stalled a little bit here. Either that or Sea Dog's thinking this thing through. We do have a trigger. There's the Sun One Wolf. A little late to the table, but it's there. So gonna get the trigger. Draw. 7k for the leader. Means the 2k counter for the next swing here, which I'm sure Panda has. 8k. Should get a 2k from hand. Yep, there's a 2k. Why? I thought Vasco Shot was a 2k. Seems like we excessively countered that turn. Is Vasco Shot not a 2k? Oh, he's a 1k. My bad. Alright, so he just didn't have the 1ks. That's a shame. Well, Vasco's a 1. Thank you, Itzamal. Okay, so I guess there's... Panda sadly did not have the 2k to get the Sun one out. But we had 2 1ks used, I guess, to get... Where we didn't even need to redirect, but I guess if you got the leader ability to use it. Alright, 9 Dawn. Looks like Panda's counted out. We're probably either going to see an 8 cost or a Zihaha. Let's see if we do. All right, just the 8 cost. Where is that? I've got a button for this. Tier 1 streaming right there, people. Tier 1 streaming. Who else has that button ready? All right, 8k swing going into Yamato. Okay, fine. Probably going to be an easy counter here for Sea Dog. A lot of cards in hand. Easy to get the 1ks. Gonna get a block. Interesting. Okay. Sea Dog must like the hand here for minutes to swing. Here comes 6 into life. Looking for 2 or a take. Do have an open, so I mean we could use the event here because this will be the last attack here from Panda. Sea Dog on the take. Interesting. Probably looking for some pieces here. All right, 10 Dawn for Sea Dog. This is probably going to be our most extensive push yet. Sadly, Panda not at 10 cost, so he's not going to be able the blocker strategy to stall this thing out. This would be a great turn for Sea Dog to really, really start pummeling this with a Mononosuke combo. We know that Panda doesn't have any more Sun less from life here, so all these swings are going to be valid swings. Tapping what looks like 6. Okay, we're just going to go the Yamato way. Draw, discard. Don't have the Yamato Shinobu combo yet. Discard another 8 cost. This turn we might actually be able to use some of this Dawn for some swings, though. Could Otama reduce to try to go after the Shiryu? But of course, that could also mean that we get a redirect in a second swing here. So Panda would probably actually prefer that the Otama get activated here and they go board here. Because I don't think Panda really wants to see 3 of these 8 costs swing in the face along with leader and 4 open Dawn. 2 life. It's not going to be easy to counter out of this. Going to use the ability for the Yamato to play the blocker for free. Still have 4 Dawn access. Here comes 8. Don't need the allocation right now. Have the potential for 8, 8, 8, and 9. Panda can use 1 redirect, but it's going to have to counter out of the rest of it. Here it looks like our first redirect into 10 cost, or 8 cost, excuse me. It will be our last return. All right, Panda on the take for 8. Not looking good. Need to stop one more of these 8 or 9 cost swings here. Got a trigger to kill the blocker. Okay. Or rest the blocker, excuse me. And draw a card. But do we have enough to counter out of here? 8 to life. Panda on the take. Do we have enough for 9? Sea-Dog could close it out right now. Trigger to draw 2. Giving up a 2K. One of the few 2Ks this deck has. A little bit risky in my opinion. I know it's 2 cards, but all right, 8 the play here. Looks like we're going to play defensive with 1 open. Does Panda have it? 2 2Ks. All right, we did have enough to counter out of this one. Good, good, good. Now, Panda, 0 life here. 3 swings. This is do or die. Panda needs all 3 of these to hit. Only thing you could do right now is count how many cards Sea-Dog has in hand and optimize your swings. But going for Zihaha, okay. Reduces the top attacks here. You can freeze something and lock leader ability, which really doesn't do anything against this deck. It is going to take a life. So it does increase our chances here because now only 2 of these need to connect. But we know we've got at least a 3K counter in hand from Sea-Dog. So I imagine Panda probably locked the unblockable. But Panda needs to go face if he's going to win this game at all. There's no way Panda can afford the swings that are going to be coming at him from Sea-Dog next turn. Yeah, the unblockable has been frozen. From attacking anyways. 8K to life. We can use the event in +1. We can also use the event on what could be a 7K swing from leader. Countering either of these swings is going to be kind of enough here. Oh, wow. Just discarding 3 cards from it. 10K. This one's probably going to have to be a take. And 7 from Panda here. Does Sea-Dog have it? We need that 3 cost, the 3K counter from hand. We've had the one open. Oh, no. It's just been a bluff this whole time. Either that or we're saving it for the next swing. But we had the 2Ks. All right. It's going to be on Sea-Dog to get out one of those unblockables. Because while we do have 2 potentially countered attacks just with the blocker beard and the redirect, we've got a lot of potential swings from this deck left. So Sea-Dog could go with the Yamato combo, could go with the Mononosuke combo, could go with the Shinobu and Mononosuke combo. Tapping 6, looks like we're going for the Yamato combo. Or the event. Yeah, good call. It was frozen anyways. Draw, discard. This one's going to sack, bring back that unblockable. We've got still potential here for 4 swings, and that's using the, or 5 swings, sorry. That's using the Dawn to get the blocker to swing. Panda can kill 2 of these attacks. We'll see what he get. Here's the block. Next swing, redirect. Probably going to see a redirect into the blocker. We got the cards. My era begins. Okay. Yeah, whatever. And then the 8 cost. All right. Big swing here. 12 to life. Does Panda have it? 0. I don't know what we're doing. Just showcasing it. 1 1 0 0. 2K, all Panda had to counter that one, and that's going to do it. C-Dog closes it out with a 12K swing. That goes to show you kind of need that Sanwan Wolf if you really want to be up against this matchup. It did come in clutch for that one turn, but it wasn't enough to overcome the overwhelming amount of swings the C-Dog was going to be throwing at it. Like I said, the deck, it is not a great matchup, but it is a winnable matchup so long as the player knows what it's doing. This is why I keep ranking this deck very high on my tier list, because I think it rewards good players. I think people that understand the way that this matchup works against others, what cards to look for, when to start playing them, when to put those things in life. I think if Panda would have used an opportunity to get that Shiryu in hand, use a Shiryu to get the Sanwan Wolf and kind of cycle the Sanwan Wolf into life, really could have negated a lot of those turns. And if he was running more copies than just one, he wouldn't have had to use his turns to kind of get that life into a good spot. So still, very good game. Great win for C-Dog. Congratulations, Panda. Keep up the good work. I like that you're trying something and challenging yourself for this new deck. It is a very complicated deck, so I wish you the best of luck. And I got to say, a lot of people have been playing this Teach deck here in our local metas. When I sat down, I played Teach. I saw Teach next to me in the camera, and I knew Greg was over there playing it. I knew there was another player also out there. So there's at least 4 people playing the Blackbeard deck and just, you know, trying their best with a deck that is very good and will reward you if you're a good player. But remember, you've got to get good. All right, I'm going to take a very quick break. We're going to get into round 2. Stay tuned for this matchup. It's going to be a fun, great day. Can't wait to show you the new deck list. We got our champion from last season back at it again here. Xander the Dragon going head-to-head in this next matchup where we're going to be playing, I forget his opponent, but Xander is back on the table. We'll see it right when I come back. I'll be right back. And welcome back to Humble Pie. I'm your host, Jimmy D, and we're here for round 2 of 3 of today's event. All these competitors practicing themselves for the new Championship Series Season 7 and trying their luck to get into the Championship of Top 16 before they can win that coveted cup with the medal, and all the coveted prize support the Lifelink game likes to give away for these Championship Series. Our board is looking pretty thick with about 40 different people participating in this one and growing. We have a community of roughly 60 to 80 people that play this game, but right now the ones participating specifically in this event right here, just over 40 people, and it's just a great amount of people that have some fun playing these decks. I can't wait to play with these guys this weekend when the pre-release comes out and we start seeing all these new decks and seeing how well we can do, as we're all going to be trying to get that coveted Lego Luffy from this one. I know I'm going to be trying myself. It's going to be a lot of fun. But right now, we got a fun matchup. We got Goofy back on camera, and this one going up against Xander's the Katakuri deck that he loves playing, and he's been doing pretty well with. He actually was able to get a lot of points with this. Xander's one of our leaderboard leaders at the moment, So the deck has been doing pretty well for him. This was one of the few, the first decks that he wanted to test out going to the next meta. Saw a lot of potential with this and saw some different pieces that kind of worked pretty well in the upcoming meta. But I do know that he's likely going to be changing when 17 drops. So really looking forward to seeing where he puts his focus in OP17 format. Right now, we've got the leaders of this current matchup and this current meta here. Katakuri versus Goofy. Starting things off with Katakuri here, we have all the parts and engines. I love his decks. I love the different versatility that this deck has to offer. There's so many different options based on your play style. There's so many different purple Charlotte Linland cards that you can play. Katakuri obviously has this ability where it looks at the top of your opponent's deck, has the ability to get some insight, get some really cool stuff. You can kind of get like a 1K counter for a Dawn for that turn. Not the greatest of leaders abilities outside of the added information, which I think is what is the biggest benefit for playing decks like this. That information is kind of critical sometimes. It lets you know how much counter they have, the potential counter, what you can count towards or against, swings, especially towards the end game, especially if you're paying attention to what they played. It does require that you're dialed in at all times when you're playing this game for sure, because you want to be able to remember, have they used it for counter? Have they tried to discard it? What's going on? Have I seen the cards he play? Is that the only one? But with that, there are cards that kind of benefit from knowing what the top card is, but not a lot of those cards actually seen play in this deck. Right here, we've got kind of like a nice little Katakuri build. This one that you can cheat out the other Katakuri so long as you have the Dawn to play them, but this 2 cost can sack itself to get them out. You got key pieces like here with the 5. Your turn once per turn when a Dawn on your field is return your Dawn deck. If your leader is Big Mom Pirates, add up to 2 Dawn cards so your Dawn deck can rest them. So all the Dawn minusing is just basically turn to nothing with an easy ramp with this one. And on KO, you can play a character with 8,000 power from your hand. So we're kind of like climbing the ladder here. Sack this one to get up to here, and then eventually get up to our top end Katakuri, which just does an excellent job of protecting this deck. One of the things I love about this is it makes it so if you're one of those players that really likes to go board, likes focusing on board, likes trying to starve your opponent, it's going to be very difficult for you to starve this deck, given it restands all the characters and protects a lot of its pieces by restanding it after an attack or 2 other characters. When you get multiple copies here, essentially everything's free. All the attacks are free. They're all going to get restood at the end step, and you're never going to have to worry about your opponent having to be able to swing into it. With that, it means they're going to be swinging face, but this being a blocker is exactly why you have that. We have the new 10 cost Linda that came out in the new Katakuri deck. A lot of people playing this. Is probably going to see some playing Kaido. It gains you a life, turns a character into 0. It's 100% not leader locked. It's 100% devastating because it turns any character into a 0, making your weenies capable of killing just about anything. And on top of that, on play, you just get the 2 Dawn back with a 5 cost Katakuri, so you're back up to 10. This doesn't even put you behind a turn as it would be designed in some other decks with that Dawn -4. So gain a life, cool. Purple gaining life, that's always fun. Got the 0 cost for the quick counter. You have the best 0 cost counter in the game. As long as your Dawn is less, you get a draw card on there. And a nice little 1K on top of that. Super good. Just kind of like a nice little cycle card. And has a great capability of resting characters with the Dawn -2 here. Keeping those things out of threat, or getting those things and resting those characters so you can swing into them. Very, very good card. Allows you to get rid of the Laboons and other kind of anti-removal cards that this deck really wants to make sure that it has the capability, because it does play one of the best purple cards out there, Conquest of the Sea. Dawn -2. So if you got the Katakuri, it's free. KO up to 2 of your opponent's characters that cost 6 or less. The 2-for-1s, buddy. The 2-for-1s do it for days, guys. These things are absolutely devastating. 2-for-1s will win you the game, so long as they don't 2-for-1 you back. We have other pieces here that can get summoned here from the Charlotte Pudding, which make a lot of sense. Charlotte Pudding, our ability to go wide if we want to. We can drop those 6 to 8K power bodies, make sure we get our Katakuris out, and really just start pummeling these guys with this mid to late game pummel power. Of course, Slow Beam would be, I'd be remiss if I didn't cover this. Card's so good. It's exactly why you need to play around it. Most of the time they have 2 open here. Gotta be very careful. Not only is it a 2K counter, but it rests one of your opponent's characters. So basically makes one of your characters' attack nulled and void for the turn. So it's been good since the Foxy Pirates, and it's still good to this day. I think is it block 2? Yeah, so it won't be long for this world come April, but it's still gonna be a card you gotta be concerned about. The rest of it, just search and utility cards. I did see this used once before. Dawn -1K up to one of your opponent's characters, 2,000. That's a nice little counter card for the weenie meta, and something we'll probably see some more use of here, especially with the ones. This is power, right? Yeah, base power. That's where you want it to be. Avoid the cost. Go with the base power. Base power. All right. So that is Katakuri. Let's get into the Goofy deck. This one, obviously, there's so many different builds from here. I think this deck is probably by far one of the best weenie decks in the game to date. Sadly, because of its dominance within our meta, most cards that were printed for the OP17 kind of crap all over this deck. Really like to teabag this one, guys. I'm sorry, but so many of the cards just 2-for-1 it for free on playing characters and doing other things and playing cards that you would normally play on turns that you would just want to put that character on the field. And it 2-for-1s like crazy. The new stuff anyways. This deck does a great job of making sure it just keeps the resources and spams you with these many different Impel Down type characters. You've got the Monkey Luffy with different names, gets up to a 6k with a Dawn attached. You got Bunkray that can even go over top of leaders that like to boast their base power, because whatever the attack is of the leader, it goes 1 over every time it swings. You can protect it with Crocodile, which I highly recommend. It replaces itself immediately. You can also, in this deck, if you're going second, play this draw card, restand the 2 to play another 2-drop. So you can play out a Daw's Bones here, which will replace itself as well. And with the simple Dawn Swing 6k. You have Galdino that has another name in here. On play, if your leader has the Impel Down, rest up to 2 of your opponent's characters, cost 5 or less. So this will be something that could have been useful in the other decks to get rid of those early blockers, but really what this is good about is it's resting those weenies that you're afraid are going to swing into your weenies. So you get this guy out. He is a needed asset that'll get those searchers off the board, give you an option to clean those things up so you don't have to worry about those free swings, essentially, from those searchers cleaning these guys up next turn and being able to go face with the rest of your characters. Jimbei that keeps its bonus, one of the few cards that keeps its bonus, the Dawn ×1. This one will be a 4k on your opponent's turn, or 5 on swing with just 1 Dawn. You've got the essential add rested Dawn character. This thing is really good in the late game. It is a 2k counter. Don't sleep on this card. This card can sometimes give you exactly what you need with those 2 rested Dawns to the different characters to get some massive swings in the end game. The card that's in almost every single blue deck, you have to sack it, freeze a character of 9 costs or less, and draw 2 cards for doing so. Very, very strong. That's the reason we're doing it, because freeze just cannot be countered to this date. Super strong, super good tempo swing, and a very good card. You can swing for 5, sack it, freeze a character, draw 2. Monkey Luffy, that's just counter blocker here. Rest up to a blocker on attack. Really makes it difficult for you to kind of put up a defensive unless you put up 2 different blockers. But you know, one of them is pretty much going to be useless on this one, and you can potentially give it a rush if you want to. We got Buggy that plays the prisoners for free. 8 copies. You can have as many of these prisoners if you want. They're 2k counters, and they can become blockers so long as the Buggy is out. So on opponent's attack, you can activate the Buggy, turn these guys into a blocker for the turn. Super strong. You got Brook that is not Impel Down. You don't want to keep this thing out because it does negate leader ability for the turn. But let's be real, that's really not meant to be anything more than a 6-drop. Anything can attack again. That's what it's trying to do. You got loaded up with Boa Hancock that goes unblockable, swings, sack the Brook, swing again, maybe even attach 2 more Dawn with leader ability. Whatever you want to do with it, it's just super strong, gives an additional attack, and really is one of the biggest powerhouses in the deck. Nice little one-off because you don't want this thing sitting around for too long. You've got the lockdown build with Electra Luna. You've got the Demon Sword that's the Hody Jones on the stick, resting Dawns and characters. You got the 2-for-1 with the Gravity Blade, still one of the best Gravity Blade 2-for-1s in the game because it does bottom deck. It gets around a lot of the anti-KO capabilities. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about its win con. This one for 7 total Dawn here. You can restand your whole board and swing again so long as all the characters have different names. It's very, very effective at what it does. People love this thing. I've seen more games won with this. That's why they call it Weenie Rush. You fill up the board, you get 5 different names, you play this thing for 7 Dawn, swing them all over again, and pretty much can knock your opponent out of the board. If this gets out, this will swing more than Yamato. And we're going to see if that's going to be capable today as Eli and Xander go head to head. Eli, win the die roll, going first. Xander looking like he got a handful of events here, but it's going to be some great early game counter. Do get some searches. That's not entirely terrible here. We are going to be 6 Dawn or less, so we're going to have some early game counter outs and replacement draws here. I could definitely see why Xander kept it. Could be a Katakuri play, or could go for the search here. Looking like we're going to start with the search. Going to chase the One Piece. One Piece, look at the top. Trying to find some Heart Pirates here. Looking for how we want to play the curve out here. Getting the 5 cost makes sense. We got the 2 to go into the 5 if we want. And the rest just kind of redundant. I mean, Big Mom would have been a nice little tech here if we needed it. But I do like that Xander goes for the 5 cost here because it is one of the needed cards for the curve. So hopefully he'll have another chance to get that Big Mom here later when he needs it. Don't see anything else we can play for this turn, so I think this is going to be a simple pass. And back to Eli for 3 Dawn turn. This would be a good time for Eli to put out a 2 cost character, restand the 2, play out maybe a 2 or 3 cost. Here comes Daz Bones for the draw. Leader ability to restand 2. Replay in the 2. And yeah, Monclay, this is a good start. This is why Eli really wants to be on the play here, or I'm sorry, on the draw for these, because this would have been a great turn 1 play here. But regardless, still got a nice little 6k swing. Xander looking to possibly 2k counter. Nope, gonna use leader ability. Interesting. Use leader ability, Dawn -1. Should put up to 6, and that'll make it so we can use the 6 cost, or the 0 cost, excuse me, to 1k counter out. And we are. So I'm going to counter out for the draw and cycle. Kind of early to be sacking the Dawn here, but remember, he does have the 2 cost, and it's the opponent's Dawn that matters for that sack, not his own. 3 Dawn turn after we had to use leader ability to reduce by 1. Xander still at a healthy 5. Would like to see something, but it looks like the best option we have from what I remember in hand here is going to be an AK swing, and Eli's probably going to be on a quick take. Let's see what Xander wants to do. Going 6k swing. Eli needs to give up a 2k. Does have it with the Bonclay. Playing 2. Get it out the Katakuri. Makes sense. Next turn we'll be able to sack for the 5 cost. That's going to be a pass back. And now it's Eli's turn for an offense. 5 Dawn turn. Easy to get a nice little 6 and 6. With 2 easy Dawn attached. Can drop out a 3 drop if we want to. Of course, could restand after playing something. We could drop a 5 cost here. Maybe go... I think, if I remember, Crocodile's a 4, so we can attach one to the Bonclay, save the Bonclay. Could be our turn here. Let's see. Going leader swing here first, 5k. Looking to see if Xander wants to reduce to just counter this all together to gain some information. Can also 1k counter out. Mamarog in the play. Still under 6, so it's just a replacement. Dropping 5 for the buggy, which means get a draw card and potentially put out a prisoners if we have it. We do. Prisoners out here, great little turn, but this is going to turn it. Well, I mean, we can restand the 2, so we do have 2 attacks left here. Yep. Can go for our first 6. And 1-piece trigger here. Gonna got us nice little search trigger. And oh, we do have a good target here. Can use the on play here from the Peckhams next turn. Since we can sack Katakuri to get our key piece out here, we can get that Peckhams in hand here and start popping that Bonclay. Be a good option here. Definitely need to start turning things in your favor because Xander's going to need to start focusing board. Only 1 more character left here, and Eli can start swinging full board twice. Little scary here. We got 2 copies of the Peckhams. I think it would be the great pull here, personally, but we'll find out. Maybe Xander wants to go for a later gameplay and prioritize getting that that pudding out. But if he doesn't grab the Peckhams now, I don't think it's gonna be long. He's gonna be able to see another copy. Whereas pudding, he should be able to see another copy. Yep, that's the play. Peckhams. Now we have an answer for this board state. Eli's gonna be very wary of that, especially since it's an on play, so we won't be able to defend. And Here comes another 6. Looking for 2. Oh, there goes the pick'ems. Okay. Hopefully we have something here. I mean, we can attack with the Katakuri, sack it for the 5 cost. That is always an option, but we're going to be spending our entire turn here attacking board, and one of those is going to get negated. Because Buggy's just going to turn the prisoners into a free block. See if Xander has another copy. Kind of sad to see it, but maybe Xander's got some different line of attack here and long line of approach. It's definitely the take. Oh, excuse me. Gotta hydrate. Definitely a take for this turn. We're gonna see how he wants to navigate this one. Swing the Bond Clay. Eli could use a free block. Chooses not to. Interesting. One of the really good benefits of that deck, though. That's one of the strongest cards in the deck here. Because his power is basically the same as a leader. And I don't think it gets that much value in this matchup here, but it definitely does in other matchups. Gonna sack. Get out the 5 cost. There we go. Yeah, now Xander giving Eli time to read this one. Still got leader attack left here and 5 full dawn. Like to see what Xander's trying to get out here. Maybe some mid-game bodies here, trying to punish Eli, prevent the board widening here. And Eli looking pretty comfortable. If the leader wants to swing in, get a free block from the prisoners. Oh, going big here. 9K swing here. Could use leader ability to make it even higher. Interesting. Yeah. Sees that he's got the unblockable bow on here. This one coming in. All right. Going big on board state. All that just to make sure that he guaranteed the swing. Didn't want to allow those prisoners to be a free block. And Eli, rightfully so, smartly not using and wasting those prisoners just yet. It is a different name here, and remember this deck does like to get 5 different characters out to really start its end game. So long as Eli makes sure that the board state's decently in their favor and they got the ability to keep different names out there, we could see a finishing swing and turn right off a dime with a full board. This one is a 7 dawn turn, so we could see a freeze of the boa here, which would be additional name, and then now we have an unblockable too, which is a really good card against this deck, given that we know the Katakuri blocker likes to get some action. Freezing this would give us the opportunity to have Buggy and the prisoners swing along with leader. So getting 3 decent swings in, not bad. We could just swing the Buggy and the leader, keep the prisoners back for a blocker if we really felt like we needed to. But Eli hasn't even poked at yet, so... All right, 5K swing into life here. Trying to bait the leader ability. Does. Gets to look at the top card. This one is another prisoners. So we know Eli's going to get another one. Here comes a 7. Gonna freeze the Katakuri. Good play here. Gonna use leader ability to restand 2. Could go 7 and 7, 8 and leave the blocker. Could go 6 and 8. A lot of options here. Or also could leave some up in for the defense. Gonna go 8. Yep. Gonna use a Buggy 8K swing. This one should get through pretty easy. Imagine Xander's gonna be on the take on this one. I mean, Xander's taking 2 hits while Eli still sitting strong at the 4 life, passing the turn. All right, it's going to be a turn where we really want to see the potential here for the 8 cost Katakuri here to get the engines going. Can't remember the Dawn here because he's reduced so much Dawn here. But maybe 7 here, so I think we're at the Pudding stage. Pudding can start playing out some characters. Yep, here comes Pudding. Dawn minus, which should just come right back with the Katakuri. Draw 2, play a character. Here comes 8 cost Katakuri. Good board state. Now we're starting to see this engine cooking here for Xander. Have that Katakuri blocker for maybe the buggy or leader swing. Yep. Get the Dawn back here with the 5-cost Katakuri. Got a potential leader swing here, but I mean, it's going to be a turn into a block, let's be honest. So Xander might even be thinking just not swinging at all. Or could just test to see if Eli's paying attention. I know a lot of people do check, even though it just makes sense. Yeah, looks like it did look like a pass there. Yep. Realized that the swing was just going to be, like, definitely respecting Eli here. Returning to Dawn here from the other Katakuri. 9 Dawn turn here for Eli. We could be seeing about the 1 turn away from the end game here for Eli, given we do have a very comparable board state and something that Xander is going to have to be concerned about. 9 Dawn turn can easily put 2 more characters out there, go for some massive swings, poke, and the next turn end it with the event card if Xander's not able to clean this board up. Dabs, good to see you. Let's see where Eli wants to take it now. They got a lot of options here. Tap in 1. Could be one of the 1 draws. Maybe the Luffy for the search. All right, well, okay. Gonna rest and freeze. Decent card here. Eli could be setting up for the end game for the next turn. Restanding with leader ability. Skywasser. Wait, what? What are we referring to? Wait, what? That event doesn't rest? I thought it did. I know you're strong, so I'm going to go all out. You may rest 2 of your Dawn cards up to 2 of your opponent's rested characters. Oh, it doesn't rest. You're right. Sky, you're right. I thought it did rest. This gets me because I wasn't playing the deck here. Yep. Yes, you're right. We got ourselves a play mistake. Oh, the play mistake. Oh, and Xander, you're good at reading cards. You usually don't fall for these. Oh, you hate to see it. I know what happens for these players time to time. They don't read the cards. And it's so incredibly important to read the cards. I mean, obviously, me as an announcer, I should have caught that myself because I have seen the card before. In my head, honestly, I thought it did rest. I'm glad you had me check it and read it with you guys. But yeah, that card does not rest. Ugh, I hate to see it. All right, come on, Tony. You're done. You're done. I hate making Tony Chopper cry. Looks like Bo is the play to freeze the blocker here. Which is fine. This 6 swing shouldn't even happen. Get a 2K. 6 and shouldn't even be happening. I really hate to see it go out this way because I really feel like this is going to really throw off the way this game plays off. $2K, yep. Unblockable. Going to Katakuri, which should not be a legal swing. Oh, this is so messed up. I really don't like seeing this. None of these swings should be happening here. Looks like we're going to get a 0 cost to protect it. Which will close out the turn. And Eli is going to need to do something about this boa, though. If we want to get 5 swings next turn. 5 or 6 plus 12 for swings. If we're going to try and close out with the event anyways. Back to Xander, who did restand. Neither player is playing this particularly correct here. Now, two of your opponent's rested characters that cost 7 or less will not become active in your opponent's refresh phase. Like, we're not even playing the cards correctly on the misreading and misinterpretation of the cards. Now, if we Dead Man's Game, we could have rested those characters and they would have been restood. But we played this one. So I don't know if Eli mistakenly said Dead Man's Game or has a Dead Man's Game and thought they played Dead Man's Game, but then played this one instead. I mean, that would be a saving grace, personally. If I see a Dead Man's Game from Eli here, it would just be a misinterpretation of what card they played. Because Xander, we'll see if Xander swings with them. We're going to get a life gain. 0 on the boa. This boa is not long for this world. Leader likely going to swing into this boa. Don't forget, we do have a block here with the Buggy's prisoners, though. They are swinging, so it's being treated as a Dead Man's Game. I'm just hoping to see just a glimpse from Eli's hand that says he has Dead Man's, or they have Dead Man's hand, and I just, you know, just happen to play the wrong card because we know what's in the deck. Luffy on the top, 2K counter from the leader swing. Katakuri coming in, trying to go for the buggy, 2K counter. Using the Katakuri restand event, going to keep those ones protected. Restand a Dawn, or get a Dawn back and pass back. Xander with a good commanding board state here, but still has yet to do anything against Eli's board state. We'll see if it gets punished trying to go for the starvation route. However, starvation is a good strategy against this deck. If you're able to keep them off the board of getting a full board and getting those massive swings in, you can pretty much do a pretty good job. This is why I really hesitate running Goofy in the new meta, because there's going to be so many 2-for-1s that are going to kind of lock you out of this game. So you got to be really careful. All right, Luffy on the search. Another new name. Hopefully find our 5th character that's Impel down type. And different name. Eli most certainly is going to be incentivized to go a little bit more offensively here. Here's the end game event. I'm kind of curious, you guys in the chat, what do you guys think? Is it okay that the card was treated like the wrong card and it didn't lock it? Because I think it'd have been even more aggressive if they used the card as it read on board and prevented the swings from happening, instead of accidentally treating it like a different card that may be in hand. Or is it egregious that we just mistook that one for the other one? Because some of those swings should not have happened. And if Eli does have Dead Man's Game, then, you know, it's one of those things where Eli was just lost-minded and they forgot they played the wrong card from hand. That's what I'm hoping for, anyways. Because a lot of those swings should not have happened. And could have gone face, which could have been even more beneficial in my opinion. Because Xander really not looking strong in hand here. And those 2K counters were easy against the higher big bodies, but I don't think Xander would have had enough counters for face. All right, 5 to life. We're going to activate leader ability. May not be able to. If we do, might want to go 10 for another back-to-back 10 bomb. Gonna get a 1K from the pudding. Here comes 6. See if Xander has it. On the take. Couldn't quite see what the top was. Looked like I caught a curry. All right, turn the blocker off altogether here. 6 into life. Still all that open dawn. Absolutely crazy to me. On the take. 9 unblockable. Interesting we didn't get a free block here from Xander. Thought one of these would be a free block. All right, all this dawn here. Sets out for the bounce. Crocodile back. Oh, I'm gonna be able to bounce back if he wants to. Restand with leader. Tapping 2. To restand, we have all the names. All 5 different names. We can restand for another couple swings here. Eli looking to close it out. And just pointing out, he can't swing with the Luffy or Crocodile, but he has 5 names, so he's fulfilled the requirement here. Just walking through it. Decided not to bounce and protect. And tap the 1, tap the 6, walking through how much dawn's being tapped here. Xander could be calling it lights out. Does have a block though. Here comes 5. Might need to use leader ability now. A lot of cards in hand. This is kind of a ballsy move here for Eli. Just needs one of these 3 attacks though to get through and make that boa a threatening object. We finally gonna use a free block? I mean, this one particularly I would use leader ability. I know we want a 10 next turn, but we gotta survive till next turn. So could use leader ability, go up to 6, counter out of this, find out what the next draw is gonna be. Saves the cards in hand so we can 2K counter or free block one of the 6K swings. And then 9 costs in the and then 9K in the hand. Or into face here. Oh, that hand looks so light on counter though. Okay, 6 cost. Really wants to keep that Dawn protected for the 10 mom. All right, 2K. Can't draw though because it's past 6. 9 unblockable. On the take. And Eli just might pass the turn. I know if I'm Eli, all I'm trying to do is just protect my board. I got game next turn. Xander with only 4 cards in hand saved all that action just to Big Mom. Here comes Big Mom, down -4. Gonna get 2 of those back, 3 of those back with the kind of curries here. Can make the boa a 0. And can definitely start swinging into this boa. I don't think Eli is going to have enough blockers to actually, protect this thing from going bye-bye. But discard a card, gets a free life. 2 cards in hand. We got a potential to go for game here for Xander. But that's asking a lot because you're adding 4 cards to hand. Hey, Lifelink, good to see you. Chris, how you been? Restanding 2 using the 5 cost Katakuri. Xander's looking like he's trying to close this game out this turn. If he doesn't and Eli gets a restand, Eli's going to be able to take this one down. 5 and 0. Eli let it go. Good call. Got 2 more blockers. Have plenty of attacks here next turn. 8 costs. In 8K in a 6. Looking for a 2 and a 1. Could just block out. Looks like he does. Eli still has to face down a 12 and a 7 here. 7 in the buggy, looking for 2. Eli really just needs these characters to survive here. The ones in action here. Xander with only 2 cards in hand, 1 blocker. I'm sure we could do the math here to end this game. 12 into life. Pass back to Eli. Restand the Big Mom maybe. Could actually cheekily direct Eli into attacking one of the other cards, which could really help out Xander. Because Xander's got to be careful. 3 separate attacks, 1 life, 1 blocker. 1 Dead Man's Game could absolutely shut this thing out. Sermon, welcome back. Good to see you. Full 10 Dawn for Eli here. Need 2 of these attacks to connect. Monkey Luffy gonna require a lot of benefit here. And only gonna go up for a 2K with the Dawn attached here. Unless we get some more characters to play out from Eli. Can easily play a 2 cost to kind of replace itself with leader ability. Get a +1 and additional draw here. But a Dead Man's Game could I don't think the Dead Man's Game can rest this Katakuri blocker. And punch in and help for an easy punch in. Knowing Xander's down just to 2 cards in hand. However, if we do see the Dead Man's Game, that means the sequencing was thrown off here. And Eli's early game mistake actually kind of benefited. Lifelink says, been getting ready for the crazy weekend. Oh, yeah. OP17 landing this weekend is going to be absolutely insane. Told everybody in the early games we're looking forward to. We got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Box tournament at 1 o'clock. Where you actually play with a full box of the new set. We got a lot of people excited for it. That's going to be a crazy, crazy weekend. I really hope everybody out there is looking forward to it as well. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, release events, Lego Luffy on the line. All those crazy Dawn cards are going to be going for massive value. Just the non-one, Lego Luffy, I think is going to be going for a decent value as well. Music says, okay, I think you were right. The red ace a bit fun. Oh, good. Music, I'm glad. I'm glad I told you. It definitely rewards new players. Yeah, the red ace, yeah. It's funny, it reads the same. All right, Eli, I think, is finally covering up the math here. Knows that they got to have two of these hit. What do we got? Tapping 1. There we go. There's the Dead Man's Game that we saw earlier here. Means the sequencing was likely and out of sequence here. Resting 2. Gonna use leader ability to restand 2. We got 8 Dawn left here. Need leader and crocodile to hit. 9. No. Eli rereading this time. At least reading this time. Knows that the 6 is going to be countered by the 6. But 3 up, that means 4 up here. Meaning the 2 cards can't possibly counter out. The 2 cards in hand for Xander, 2 2Ks would not be able to counter the swing. Going 9. Realizes it has to be 9 to 9. Xander wondering, is this Monkey Luffy going to be able to swing at me? It will not be able to swing. Not for any real value anyways. We've got 5 Dawn left here. The best we could do is 6 and 6 afterwards. And it's not looking like we got a lot of counter in Xander's hand here either. So Xander looking to get a 2K from life. See if he can pull it off. It's looking like we got a no counter and a 2K. Slow beam. Oh, what is the trigger on that one? What is the trigger on the slow beam? Add up to 1 Dawn Debt and set as active. No, that is not what we want to see. That is not what we want to see at all. If we're Xander in this situation, that is going to hurt. I was hoping it had some kind of rest effect or something. But that's not going to be enough. It means we only have 1K counter in hand. Big swing from Luffy. I don't think Xander has it. Yeah, that's going to be it. Eli closing it down, but sadly getting 2 Deadman games? Yeah, we know that the card was there. The likelihood of what the mistake was is Eli had mistakenly saw the Deadman's game, played the Deadman's game as Deadman's game, but it was I Know You Were Strong, which can't rest characters, but freezes characters, but they weren't frozen. And then they had another Deadman's game. So sadly, sometimes these play mistakes happen. It does happen all the time in these card games. I would expect Xander to have known the difference here and read the card here, but from my guess and not having heard the audio, I'm assuming Eli said Deadman's game, played the wrong card on accident, had the card in hand, so late game had already forgotten that the other card was I Know You're Strong, played it for the win. So you could be the judge to see how you think this game would have gone. Eli's still doing a really good job playing with the Goofy. A lot of fun. Congratulations to Eli on this. Is going to go to the championship, and we're going to go into the final round here against Francesca next round here, playing an undefeated deck with the red-yellow Jewelry Bonnie deck. And our final chance before we get into OP17 and the meta completely changes itself and we go into ourselves a crazy season with OP17. Until then, I'll be right back.
get to you, and no one delivers any of the feelings that you do. I've saved my life, waiting for the dreams to all come true. Then I saw that you are everything I need to get me through. 'Cause we are connected in unity. We'll get far as long as it's you and me. It is how we feel. It is how we love. It is how we dream. It is who we are. Who we are. Who we are. I know that you've been struggling to make the ends meet. Take my desire, turn it into firepower. You may be tired, I will take you higher than the clouds. Our dreams, as they seemed, are only one step away from us. Yeah, we are connected in unity. We'll get far, 'cause we are meant to be. It is how we feel. It is how we love. It is how we dream. It is who we are. Who we are. Who we are. Who we are.
It started like a forest fire, held us in the grip of desire, burned out too soon. Ever crossed my mind that I could lose you? I turned my back.
Welcome back to Humbro Pie. I'm your host, Jimmy D, and here we are for the finals matchup for tonight. We're going to be closing out this matchup with Eli taking on the championship, going up against Francesca on the red, yellow jewelry Bonnie deck here. We're going to see, is that 7k power enough to just outperform the powerhouse that is this Goofy deck and its little Weenie Rush, or is the Weenie Rush going to use those Bonclaves to its advantage and win over top of this red deck? We're going to find out here real shortly here, but I do want to remind everybody, if you're watching this live here when I go live every Monday and Wednesday, we have away free packs. These are the last packs that we're going to be giving away from the OP16 before OP17 this weekend, where we're going to be opening up a lot of packs. I'll be getting my community box for all of you, and starting next week we're going to be opening up a brand new box of OP17, which is going to be fantastic. We're going to have chances to get all those types of hits, and it could be yours for simply joining my chat, hitting the exclamation point, join if it's your first time, or just commenting and saying hi again, because anytime you're a repeat customer, we're going to be adding you to the wheel, because I already know who you are, and I know you probably joined my Discord, and I probably already sent you something good. I'd say most of my subscribers, at least at a 75% rate, have gotten at least one pack from every single time that we got through here. So you guys want to join up and make sure you get your chance to win one of these free packs. It's free packs, guys. Some of these packs going already 10, 12 bucks if you want to buy them on the market, and I bought them for you, and I'll send every single card out to you just for hitting the exclamation point join. All right, we do have this two decks. We're going to get into it and let you guys know just ahead of time. We are jumping in the middle of it. I was outside taking a break in between rounds because I had a very gruesome matchup against Wolf and his what were we playing? He was playing the Turtle Luffy deck against my Shanks deck, and my brain was hurting after that matchup. I was able to squeeze out the win with a Lucky Roo, which was a lucky draw, to get myself exactly what I needed to kill his Brook KO strategy that he was trying to throw up against me, and I was able to take it down. Going to the finals, I had to play up against probably my worst matchup in the Shanks versus the Killer of Shanks Mihawk deck, and sadly that one, of course, is exactly how you predicted it to go. I got 2-0'd by, or just swept anyways, with Sai in that matchup. Still a fun matchup, really good matchup, and a lot of fun anyways. But honestly, Shanks still doing some good numbers, but you guys know me. As soon as OP17 comes around, Porcos Ace is going to be my captain of the ship as I try out the OP17 meta and try to rush down my opponents and get those quick, easy wins before my opponents set up some stuff. Right now, we're going to see if we can get up some quick, easy wins from either the Weenie Rush or the Giant 9K Stall. Let's check it out. Starting off, we already looked at this less than the last one, so I don't need to go over too many of the pieces. I do want to remind Eli, as kind of a joke, Dead Man's Game is the thing that rests cards, and I Know You're Strong is the one that freezes them. This does not rest them, and it does freeze them, so make sure you remember which one you're using each time. Of course, the KO Killer here in that event of Let's Go to the Navy headquarters here. It was one of the big winning cards in the last match. Even it does what it does best. It restands all the characters, gets to the swings, and gets that last swing here. It wasn't the game that ended the duel, but it definitely did set up for the victory after having restood everything. We do have one Electric Luna to freeze the board, and we have all the pieces that are. The best pieces, of course, the Galdino that freezes and draws 2, the anti-blocker Monkey D. Luffy, and just all the rest of the pieces that you get out early that replace himself and instantaneously put your opponent on the defensive on that 5-life leader. This 5-life leader is not always a 5-life leader, because once this character gets down to 1 life, instantaneously this character becomes a 7k beater. So a 4-life leader that after it takes 3 is constantly 7k on your opponent's turn. Pretty good. I mean, this is why Nami was so good for the longest time. But this one doesn't even require you discard anything, just requires you be at 1 or less life, which can be dangerous, but it does give you an upside of playing cards like Ronor Zoro. They give plus 2k on the attack, so that means your character is 9k. Then you can play these things like Monkey Luffy that also give plus 2k, making your leader 9k for the turn. And if you guys haven't seen what a 9k leader feels like, it is very, very rough to attack into a 9k leader, especially when you have 4k counters, 3k counters in hand. You've got some good searching to get through here, but of course you got the raw heat strike that gives a plus 2k and a minus 2, which is technically a 4k, but it has a potential of negating 2 different attacks, which makes it very versatile. You've got the unbanned Kingdom Come that can basically KO up anything that they want for so long as you have 1 life here, or want to trash to 1 life. Up to you. Most of the time, it's going to be played in the late game. You've got the Game Ender and Jewelry Bonnie here. This card's absolutely insane. It has Rush on it. It comes into play, takes a life, and just instantly will win some games out of nowhere. We got the anti-blocker Sanji, which is just a nice little surprise, which is why at home I tell you all the time, if you have a blocker, use it before you go to 0 life. Never go to 0 life if you have a blocker, because there's a good chance cards like this are just going to end the game out of nowhere. Not to mention all the cards that just can't be blocked. You got some life gain with Akuma, you got some life gain with Borsalino, Nami for hitting and taking damage and replacing itself, Sanji for on KO if you have 2 or less life, cards you get to play another character, so this one replaces itself, and the base power comes the same as your opponent's leader. So, if you're playing against a mirror or have anything else, you can basically pump this thing up for an easy swing into these Jewelry Bonnies, or one of the leaders likes to pump up like the 7K with the Roger when this thing was out and pretty popular. A lot of cards in here definitely do help you get this leader into a ridiculously far height that make it extremely difficult to swing into. And God forbid, if you do leave them at 0, you could end up losing the game to this absolute win con on a stick. 10 cost, Gold D Roger, 13K with Rush, and when your opponent activates blocker, they lose the game. So this is the deck. Like I said, we're going to be jumping right into the beginning parts of this stage because I missed the record button by a slight bit, but we're going to get right into it. We got Francesca at the top versus Eli. That'll get fixed up here as we're playing the game. But looks like we had a lot of swings here, early swings here from Eli, just utilizing the fact that this leader was at a -1K. But now he's going to have to worry about this leader being at 7K for what is essentially going to be the rest of the game. Gonna get a nice little pop card here. Gonna take a life here. Imagine we got something to gain us a life, but that's gonna pop this one. Very dangerous here for Francesca to play this early, but did need to get rid of this Boncle because Boncle is honestly one of the best answers this deck has against this leader that just likes to pump itself up into this ridiculous height. Now, very safe for Francesca, given that she does have a blocker here. We can go 8, start putting some pressure on here. Looks like we are going to go for an 8K swing. Eli going to take the first hit for the game. And a pass back. If Eli's so inclined to attack with all the Dawn here, it's going to be it for the turn, and it's going to leave Francesca in a powerful spot. But Francesca's leader now at 7K power. And Eli with no board state. So we'll see how Eli wants to navigate this one. Gonna get out anti-blocker. Interesting. It's gonna be very good. It's gonna set up for a turn, but they're gonna need to use the Dawn here to even swing into a 7. 6 is gonna rest the blocker. And it's gonna swing 7 into life here. So Francesca's only gonna have to give up a 1. And even with this card, if Francesca's able to get this thing off the board, she's going to be looking pretty strong here. Easy counter. Restanding 2 could come in for another 7 for another 1. If Francesca's absolutely bricked up, this could be a game winner. But we're going to go 5 in the blocker. Good call here for Eli. Making sure that there is an option here. If Francesca does go board, we will have a chance for Eli to swing all out here. But getting up to 7 Dawn here, this is the perfect time to get ourselves into the plus 2K Zoro play here, but looks like we're tapping 5. Gonna get a Borsalino blocker here. There's like instant life gain and a blocker here. Blocker so much not the issue, but the life gain gonna be absolutely brutal here. See if we can get 7 into the 6 for removing this Luffy as a potential and keeping this board kind of clean here. But Francesca's definitely going to be motivated to want to get this Luffy off the board, given she's only able to put up 1 blocker as a defense wall here. Here comes 6. We'll see where this is going. 2K counter. And 1 open and a pass back, so it means we likely have a chance to use one of our 4K counters here. Up to 8 Dawn as Eli. Only 1 character here, but we can get rid of that little pesky blocker if we want to. The leader is at 7K for the turn. So if Eli wants to swing with this, is going to have to allocate some kind of Dawn to get these swings in. I think Francesca's been doing an excellent job of keeping this board state. Personally, however, I would have kept that 2K to pop this Luffy, because that would have been a great answer to pop this Luffy here. So a little premature, personally, by playing the Zeus. I think she even had some options to try to swing into it. Looks like we're probably going to get... Oh, bottom decking, 2-for-1 Gravity Blade. You all know what happens when this happens. Francesca not able to protect either of these characters. They're going to both get bottom decked. The 2-for-1 has been played. And now we do have a potential for 2 7K swings. Oh, you know how I bet it feels. You got that one. Here comes 7 into life. Francesca needs 1. See if we get that one. We do with Nami. Another 7, needing 1. Francesca definitely going to be absolutely incentivized to keep this life here. Because next turn, we're really going to want to start playing our Monkey D. Luffy's. We're going to want to start playing our Zoros. Something to get our leader up to 9K. There goes another blocker. Good choice from Francesca to get rid of the blockers. Don't have time to go widen right now. Especially if we can't get rid of this Luffy. We got to get this thing off the board if we want to put up any kind of defense. Let's see what we got. Tapping 8. Dawn here. Comes out. I believe that's supposed to be 9, though. With the Monkey D. Luffy, this is going to pump up the leader. Am I reading that wrong? If you have 1 or less life cards, give this cost -1. You may trash 1 card. Yeah, so that should be all 9. Given Francesca is at 9, so this should be all the Dawn here. That will bump up this to 7, though. And I believe this does have blocker, too. For the turn. Sadly, we need to get this Luffy off the board, because I don't believe this Luffy has a restriction on cost for the blocker. As when attacking, rest up when he runs blocker. So this Luffy's just going to rest the other Luffy. So hopefully Francesca has a way to get rid of it. Another reason why having that Zeus right now would have been very good to get rid of this threat. So here comes 7. See where this is going. Good news, Francesca. This will be a 9K next turn, so it's not going to be easy for Eli to swing in a 9K. Especially not with 2 characters, but the Luffy blocker is pretty much irrelevant with his current board state. Full 10 Dawn for Eli. See where they want to take this turn. Drawn for turn. Fat hand. Got a lot of options, it looks like. And Francesca putting a reminder out there. 9K leader for turn. That way if Eli wants to try to freeze. Remember, this freeze, though, cannot freeze a Monkey Luffy. So Boa is not going to be a great answer up to this point. Gonna need to get something like some blockers out or some kind of defense. Eli just looking with this kind of a weenie board here. Francesca's been doing a good job of starving this deck. So we'll see what happens. Dawn times 2. Gonna get a replacement here for Daw's Bones. Looks like Eli's trying to set up for a later game swing here. Tapping 3, 4 more Dawn. Getting the Crocodile here. Looking to bounce the Daw's Bones to replay the Daw's Bones. Just to draw another card. Yep. Decent play here. Can still activate leader ability to restand 2. Yep. There it comes. 6 Dawn turn. Sadly, with 6, There's no way we're going to see 2 attacks here from Eli. The 9 is just that powerful of a power right now, where Eli is just not in a position where they can get a single, like they got to basically invest everything in one swing. And of course, you're going to want to put it into Luffy to rest the blocker here. So best bet's going to be a 12k and a 9. Francesca could easily just take, and with that would just mean the end of the turn. Eli thinking this one through. Gonna rest a blocker. 9 into 9, looking for 1. Rest of the blocker. Francesca just needs 1k. We'll see if she gives up here. Checking the power here. 9 into 9, just needs 1. Should have that probably. Taking us 1 life. Not the end of the world, but not the greatest position you want to be in this deck. Staying at 1 for as long as possible is probably your best bet here. Especially if Francesca can back-to-back these 2k buffs from the red and yellow characters here. Oh, activating the Dawn. I really wish I didn't see that. Or activating the event. I guess a 2k. Francesca does have the counter in hand here, though. Because it really shouldn't have been an open Dawn. 10 Dawn turn here for Francesca. See if we can back it up with another Luffy. Was really hoping we didn't see that Dawn activation, personally. Francesca, fairly new to the game. Been playing for just about over a month here, so mistakes do happen. See, full 10 Dawn. Francesca's got to get this Luffy off the board here, but does have to worry about Eli now having 3 different attacks to load up on. 7k leader is pretty intimidating, but not impossible to swing into. So hopefully Francesca swings his 12 into the Luffy. Will likely get the block, which could be beneficial here. And it looks like she's just looking at what does Eli have that could potentially counter. Most of the defensive cards in here only protect the leader here, so the Dawn really not that intimidating. Going board would be a really good option here. Bait of the Crocodile with the 12k swing. Looks like we're going to do it again. Back-to-back Monkey Luffy here. Going to power this up. 9k leader yet again. This one, if we get the blocker to swing in, we get the 7k to swing in there. Hopefully we can get through. 7 into what I imagine should be the Luffy here. The green one, that is. Since there's so many Luffys on board here. I do like that these Luffys are immune to the boa locks here. 2 2Ks. Okay, so it looks like that was going into life here. Francesca should definitely attack this Luffy. I know that they're going to get the blocker, but that's one less attack you got to worry about. So you're still gaining some kind of board state here. Yep, Eli likely going to be on the block. With 1 open in the pass, leader's going back up to 9k. So again, going to be on Eli to allocate some Dawn, rest it, and then try to get those attacks through. But at 1 life, it's very difficult for this Weenie deck to swing into 9k leaders. It's what really makes it so strong. This deck's really good against Yamato, and without the Bond Clay out, it's very difficult for Eli's deck to adequately allocate enough Dawn here for massive swings. That's why this deck was so powerful when it got printed out, and a lot of people were giving it a shot, and I think it's very good. If you can back-to-back these 2k bonuses, for the turn, this deck does a really good job of making it feel like it's just a mountain to climb and so hard to whittle out of the resources. Because every turn, Francesca just drops another 10, 12, even a 9k body on the field here, just constantly threatening Eli with these bigger bodies that, on top of needing to swing into a 9k leader, are really difficult to swing into as just the characters. So Eli in the tank, we'll see what they come up with. Looking like potentially looking for 2 swings. But really counting that Francesca has no counter whatsoever. Tapping 8. I'm not too familiar with what cost 8. 7 for the Boa for sure. But Boa does nothing right now. Both these Luffy's completely immune to the Boa freeze. Eight on a Luffy. Could be a 14k swing. But even a 14k swing just means that Francesca takes a life, and then what? He can't swing again. It's a 9k leader. Okay, 4. So 9 and 6, so a 12 and a 9. Eli looking for that to be the potential win here. They probably got to be thinking they can't survive too many more of these turns with these rush or these Luffy's. And if Francesca's able to drop down a rush Bonnie here, that might just be enough to close the game out. Got several piles here. 4 for a 9, 4 for a 10, 1 open for a character, maybe? And Eli definitely in the tank here, wondering what is the best route to go here. Francesca, 1 open, threatening to have another counter event in hand. At 1 life, very unlikely we're going to see 2 connects here against Francesca. All right, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 and 2. Eli just not sure about this math. There's not a great easy math here. I think personally setting up some board state with another blocker might be the best bet here and just passing the turn. Like set up for a turn to hope that Francesca whiffs on a 2k buff, and then we can get some massive swings in the following turn. Gonna start off with the Luffy search. Did get the buggy combo here. Going for the prisoners though, so maybe it means we do have buggy in hand. Could play the buggy. That is going to negate all attack threats as is though. Nope, I forgot about leader ability. Nope, we can restand 2 so we can get at least 1 swing in. Can test Francesca for 1 life here. Nope, not going for it though. Just gonna rest in. Going, what's that, 6? So 12k. Six into life. No, 12k to 12. Looking like he's going bored here. And Francesca just gonna let it happen. Sadly, 2's not gonna get into the 9. So back to Francesca. Can she back-to-back it with another Luffy? Given that Francesca, unless they got Bonnie, could no longer go for game. A Bonnie here could absolutely turn this game in her favor, given Eli's not able to counter out of these massive swings. Bonnie taking a life. Also, this massive swing could be an option to just end the game now. But Francesca has to have it. No, it doesn't look like it. Tapping 7. All right, getting the buff from the Zoro. It's not going to have the character rush because there's nothing at 8k power. So it is going to be an opportunity to put the... because of the state we're in right now, I think we want to have the Luffy attack the anti-blocker Luffy here. Because it is the strongest character that Eli has available. Then maybe poke and attack Life with the leader and the remaining Dawn. Francesca thinking about it. Not in a strong position to end the game. Only has 2 attacks. 3 Dawn not going to be enough here to add anything with Rush here or anything relevant. Looks like we are going to go for the 9k swing. Where's this one going? Eli looking like we might have an event and some counter here. Looks like we're... No, going... Okay, going Luffy. Good call. 9 and a 6. A lot harder to defend the character. So many of these 3k counters nowadays have like leader only. So 9 and a 6. We'll see if Eli can protect it. 2Ks to a 10. Now 12 could remove it if Francesca doubles down, as she should. Eli running on a counter here. Honestly, needs to knock this 6k. There we go. Francesca knocking out that Luffy. Finally off the board here. That's going to do it for the turn, though. Putting Francesca back up to a 9k leader. Eli with some potential to add some attackers, but honestly, the Dawn allocation required for these characters is just insane. Like stuck in the exact same position to try to land 2 attacks through Francesca and 1 open Dawn. And Eli just trying to climb that mountain, but Francesca back to back to back, pumping that leader up 2k. Doing what this deck does so well. Scoffrick, welcome back. Good to see you. Man, this is a tough situation for Eli. Has got to think this one through. Francesca is light on cards in hand, but clearly has been representing that 1 as if they have an event, or she has an event here. So... Love the Dawn, by the way. The Dawn for this one's fantastic. I believe those are fan-made. Maybe I'm wrong. Are those Dawn fan-made, or is there a Dawn I missed? Because I thought that... Was there a Chinese one that came out with that? I didn't know we had it yet, though. Good memories of the Kuma. All right, Eli separating some piles here. Monkey D. Luffy is going to require a lot to swing into a 9. But the leader, Daz Bones, can get in there. Again, if Eli has it, this would be a good turn to try to go a little bit wider. Yep, Galdino. This one can freeze the Monkey D. Luffy. Draw 2 cards. So going to freeze the... Okay, freeze the Zoro. Interesting. Is it... It's not... Yeah, it's 9 or less. It's 9 or less. But given that, what do we have? We got 6 Dawn left here, right? We got 6 Dawn. Can go 11. If we go 11 with lead, that's it for the turn. 11 lead, looking for 3. Francesca looking to take. Does have... the event she's yet to play yet. Nope, gonna take. All right, restanding 2, passing back. Francesca running out of turns here. We need to see some life gain, maybe some more to put this leader back up here. Bonnie could really, really take this way in her favor. We know Eli's getting a little light on counter here. And smart not to make any of these characters vulnerable. Because if Eli is going to win this game, they got to have enough swings to get back into this. Looking for 5. Could be another Borsellino. Yep. Borso heal. Another 5. Be a great turn for Francesca to get the least down to 0. Potentially set up for a nice little Goldie Roger swing. Looking like 9K swing. 9 into life. Eli. It's going to need both events if they have it. And still has to worry about the 12K coming in. Paying 1. There's a +3. Needs a 2. 2 1s. It's enough to counter out of that swing. On play, you may trash one card from your hand. Your leader gets +2K in the end of turn. Next end phase. Then this character gains blocker until the end of your opponent's next end phase. I don't think Francesca read this card. This is a 1-turn only blocker. And it's only after the on play here. So sadly, I think if I was Francesca, there's not a whole lot of threat here. They go into the Monkey Luffy with a lot of investment. You got the Borsal to block. So not a big fan of not swinging this Luffy. And hopefully she's not thinking it is a blocker. This Monkey Luffy is definitely not a blocker. 7K though. Still a little bit hard for Eli to swing into. Not near as complicated as 9, but still difficult. All 10 Dawn. And does have to recognize if they're not able to finish the game here with these 2 swings, which with a blocker is essentially impossible. Need a Dead Man's Game or something. And there it is. Dead Man's Game. Gonna rest the blocker and the Dawn. No, I'm going to rest 2 characters. Interesting. Okay, leaving the Dawn open. Maybe they think the Dawn is a bluff? Got 6 Dawn left here. We can get some swings in here. Leader ability, restand 2. Back up to 8. Is Eli trying to go for game? Tapping 3. Electric Luna, keeping him froze. Pretty sure this has turned off most of the attacks, though, here. Let's see, 5 Dawn left here. Would need 2 for Dawes Bones to go in for 7. 3 for Leader to go to 8. Leader ability has already been activated here. Francesca just needs a 1K and a 2K for one of these swings. Let's see, Scofford says, "Hey, Umbro, you're helping me stay sane while I write this pleading for my awful case. Are you writing down some court paperwork? I'm glad I'm helping you, though." Yeah, looks like Francesca there thought that was that constant resting effect from Leader, but it's not there. But I'm glad to hear I'm helping you stay sane. Oh, you're paralegal. Yeah, I don't blame you then. Yeah, that paperwork could get very, 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 very boring. Emergency crap for tomorrow. Yeah, I've been there. Not in the same regard here. I used to work with the lawyers when I was deployed. I'd have to do a lot of like legal negotiations for my deployment in Afghanistan. So I worked quite heavily with you, and I know how tedious that paperwork can get because I oftentimes had to fill it out myself just so I could get the operation to go. All right, Francesca already being punished for not having used this blocker. Sorry, use this Monkey Luffy as an attacker here. Really thinking this could have gone in Francesca's favor had she attacked with it before. Here comes 12 to life. Eli on attack. Has to take. Do we have a Jewelry Bonnie to follow this up and finish the game? Jewelry Bonnie would be absolutely epic right now. I don't think Eli can counter out of a Jewelry Bonnie swing. And even if so, I don't think they have enough counter to also counter out of the leader swing. But Francesca has to have it. Goldie Roger would just be a swing, would not be anything. Scarfer says, oh, it's awful. I can't even explain because attorney-client privilege, but also I don't want the FBI knocking my door down. I don't blame you. Yeah, you got to keep careful on all the details of the information you release. So I don't blame you. Yeah. Oh, God. I do not miss those days of filling out tedious paperwork. I know it has to get done. It's all for the up and up, and to make sure that you feel like you're good about what you're doing. But man, that paperwork can just put you to sleep. Scarver says, "Yeah, child is a legit danger. That's all I can say. Family Law and Wild. Yes, it is." And it's important things like that where you realize it seems so tedious for something that seems like they should be so easy to. Anybody with a common sense brain would be like, well, obviously this is the action we should take. But of course, there's mountains of paperwork. There's a lot of judicial stuff. People have rights, as they should. But sometimes those rights definitely come at a hindrance here. All too familiar. I've had too many times where I've had a really bad person where I really want to get rid of it. All right, 5K to life here. Get some counter out of hand. This could be the Jewelry Bonnie play here. No, playing 10, though. It looks like Goldie Roger. All right, Roger in for the swing. Preventing any kind of blockers. Eli on the take, but that's going to do it. Meaning Eli, no blockers, 2 life, 7K. Just needs to get 2 of these attacks to land. This could be the opening window Eli's been waiting for all game. Yeah, she does have some sweet nails. I agree with you. Francesca does a really good job of taking care of her nails. $7K, 3 cards in hand, 1 life. Eli just needs to find the 2 attack strategy to get through this with 5 and 5. Technically, with 1 Dawn, 9 left, you have a 6 and a 5K swing into 7. If we want to go for game here, we're probably going to want to maximize all 10 Dawn here. Knowing Eli cannot survive the counter swing, nothing's going to freeze this board. I imagine they got to be thinking, this is it. I need Dazbones and Monkey D. Luffy to land these attacks. They've got to beat whatever Francesca has in counter. So 5 and 5, a 10 and 11 is probably my best bet. Eli counted out. Do or die. You know you can't survive, Eli. 5 and 5. It's the only way to land both these. You gotta hope these triggers don't save it either. Francesca believes also playing, you're the one that should disappear, so don't want to fall trapped to that. That would be an absolutely disgusting way to go down. But looking like a 9 and a 7? No, I definitely think 10 and 11. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's see, no, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. 9 into 7. Ooh, Francesca on the take. That's good news for Eli. Is the 11K gonna be good enough? Francesca. Doesn't have it. Laying down the hand. Doesn't have the counters. Couple of bricks in hand and a bunch of 1Ks. It's not going to be enough. It looks like Eli has just enough. And sadly, that is going to be lights out for Francesca. Talking about how resting that blocker really screwed up her game plan. And sadly, no Bonnie in sight in that hand either. Man, that would have been such a good play. Bonnie right there could have been the absolute game ender against this hand, especially against this. But sadly, didn't have it in hand. And just like that, Goofy is the winner of the night. Congratulations to Francesca and to Eli for making it to the finals. Still getting a lot of points all the way through. Remember, Francesca got 9 points for performance. Eli with the coveted 12 points for that Tuesday night. And of course, we're going to be getting some massive points for the release weekend that's coming up right around the corner. We are 2 days away. Tomorrow, heading up to the New York Anime Con to get some of those goodies and freebies and trying my luck on trying to get some of the Bondi premium stuff for 1 day, playing a box tournament, and then coming back home so I can be here for all those release events, because your boy's going to be playing in all of them. Going to be getting as many of those games in as absolutely possible. Well, yeah, thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. Yeah, I had a last minute take a break, got a pass for Thursday. Apparently they had a lot of like free giveaways, and Bondi's going all out with a bunch of the different games, so I could pick up my Union Arena stuff, some Gundam stuff, maybe even some Naruto stuff. They're kind of hinting that could be there, and I am going to be getting into that game. Obviously, there's going to be some One Piece stuff. There's a box tournament they're going to be giving, which I think is going to have some of the new stuff. And with it being Bondi sponsored, I might just get lucky enough to get myself an OP17 box. We'll see. I don't know if they're going to let them sell it on Thursday, though. And Thursday was the only day I could squeeze in. All right, we have the wheel. Everybody's set. We have packs to give away. I want to say thank you to everybody here for joining us tonight. We had some excellent games tonight. I know that there's a couple of bits of play mistakes and stuff, and honestly, guys, I say this every single time I see it. You were there. You've made it. Rule of the thumb. Read the cards. Read the cards. I know we don't have the sim backing us up and protecting us from any kind of play mistakes, but it is on you as a player to read the cards. So if you're going to be playing in this weekend's tournaments, you're going to be playing in these events, it is even more important to you as a player to read every single card. This is going to be the first time you're seeing these cards in play. It's going to be on you to read those. There's going to be a lot of free wins when people misread cards, misinterpret cards, play them as they think they should be. They're going to play the Rainbow Luffy and drop the 10 cost block beard to make the leader 8K and then find out, no, that's not how that works. Because as the rules go, it's Rainbow Luffy is not monocolored. So the 10 cost Whitebeard will not make that card an 8K leader. And if you don't read the cards and don't read the rules, you're going to fall victim to it. So don't be that guy. All right, guys, let's get to the wheel. Say thank you to Lifelink for letting us host this. And thank you for such an amazing night as we get these 2 packs to give away and close out our OP16 run. Names are it. Shuffled on the board. Let's get into it. Des, I got to make sure I added you. Yep, you're on there. Alrighty. First pack goes to... Sermon with a steal. Sermon with that little slight steal. Let's see if we can get this man some good pack. These are it, guys. Fresh out of a different box, not the community box, obviously, so there's no way to track what the hits were. Any of these could potentially be anything, up to even a manga. We're going to find out. That'd be absolutely insane. Maybe even get him back in the game if we gave this guy a manga. All right, Kuriel, Sanji, younger brother, Roro Zoro, Gum Gum Jet Pistol, Benevolent King of the Waves, Tony Chopper, Usopp, Van Augur, Nico Robin, Jinbei, and Bunkley. Ah, double rare pack. Yeah. All right. Well, that's 3 double rare packs. This last one has to be good. This one has to be good. Let's do an alto. Let's do something. Let's end this on a good note. I hate these double rare packs. I know you gotta have them. You gotta go through them. That's what makes the rate, the ratios. Blah, 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 blah. But let's get something of value for my customers. Let's get to it. Fans want goodies. Box 64 is like, let's get the SP Nico. That'd be insane. Let's see it. Let's see it. Box 64 says it's supposed to be an SP. Let's see an SP. And it might just be going to Devs. Devs, congratulations. Devs 502. Let's see what we got. This man often like passes the packs out to everybody else, but I know if it's an SP, Devs is gonna want it. Let's see. Bob64 did say this is gonna be an SP. It's starting off looking pretty good. I mean, as every pack does. It's just a regular blue back. So let's find out. Let's get ourselves a hit, please. End on a hot note. Gecko Moria, Dracul Mihawk, Smoker, Trafalgar Law, Mr. 2 Bunclay, Hollow Glacier Slash, Boa, Doc Q, Buggy Leader. As we know, this doesn't mean anything anymore. So this used to be a bad feeling. I'm so glad it doesn't anymore. Namule, Buddha Sengoku, and can we finally end on a hit? Buggy SR. SRs are hits. Yeah. Not the way I wanted to go. That's not the way I want to end this. Anybody have like an X-ray machine I can borrow? So like I can stack these things in my favor. I can put the manga up front, and have the big night and get a big selling ticket so I can give away a manga and get all the followers in the world, because they're gonna be like, I wish I was there for the manga hit. I don't know. Maybe so I can like end the stream with like, you know, an awesome hit for the last person so we end up on a good note. I wanted something better, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, you know what that means? Better chances for the next set. We got the next OP17 coming right around the corner, so that means we're gonna have some chances for some massive hits. Who knows? Maybe I pull out that $30,000 card, and the rest of you guys can laugh at me and be like, "This guy gave away a $30,000 card just for people watching him." And you're darn right I would. You're darn right I would. I hope to see you guys in the coming weeks. I hope all the rest of you guys got your plans together, understand how you're going to be getting into those, play at your local game store, get yourself those packs as best you possibly can, get the cards, don't fall for FOMO, and get ready for a fun, interesting new format that is right around the corner. Until next time, stay hum, bro. Mission failed. We'll get them next time. Yeah, I hear you.